on. I don't know. Okay, apparently I can live stream with only 26 subscribers. I don't know for sure. Let's see. I sent out something to see if other people would join. I don't know. I've never done anything with this StreamYard before. I've been in it, but never run it. Oh, well, no, that could be me. It says I have one viewer, but that's probably me because I'm watching my own stream. I don't know how this works at all. No clue. Oh, hey, Doc's here.
Hello.
Hello, Doc.
What'll be happening?
I'm trying to see if I can live stream on YouTube. Somebody told me you have to have
Cool.
viewers before you can do that, but it looks like that's not true, at least for my count. It's old. I only have 26 subscribers, and it looks like it's working.
You were kind of cutting out for me just a little bit there.
Oh. I wonder if my computer's just having trouble trying to do this.
Or if it's on my end somehow, because I just have a smartphone, so I don't own a computer, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me see. I'm going to try pulling this video. Let me see. I pulled the video back.
It's seeming to be coming in good to me now.
I was a little choppy at that point.
Yeah, you're much better now.
My computer maybe just had to catch up. Yeah, I've been in live streams before, but I've never hosted one. And so I wanted to see if I actually could, because somebody was like, oh, I can change things. I'm exploring. Copy. I'm just looking at the.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Diana.
You was testing to make sure that it works.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can actually. I just wanted to see if I could live stream, because somebody had said you have to have like 1,000 subs before you can live stream.
No, that's not true at all.
100.
100. I'm sorry, I'm overshooting. Yeah. But I've only got 26.
Yes. You have 26 and you're live streaming.
Yes, I think it's because my account is ancient.
Hey, it's not bad.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to see. Oh, interesting. I was wondering what it looked like from the other end, because I've been in streams as where you guys are right now, but I've never run one, so I just wanted to see how it works. Oh, that's interesting.
The way the screen is apportioned here on StreamYard can be a little annoying, but it does work. Okay, I mean, it's better than nothing. This is the one I usually would end up using.
One with two on the side.
Yeah, because what it's doing is going for equal area, as large as you can manage the area.
Oh, you mean the one where it shows 3 pictures on it?
Yeah, it looks like it's maximizing area while keeping all the areas equal. And as you get more people coming on, it apportions. It apportions under the same rules. As you get more people on here, you get a fourth, and it'll be in a square sort of arrangement. Yeah,
I see. What's this one do?
I see. Said the blind man as he walked into a brick wall, or what the hell was it? Oh, I see, said the blind man as he picked up his hammer and saw. That's it. The blind carpenter. That's an old one.
So what is this?
Of course, I'm old.
Oh, okay. So if you have the floor, I can do this and make it all about you on my end.
People have accused me of that.
Oh, no. I saw that when you did your coffee the other day, like Kate was talking and she was on a tangent. You were just like all about Kate.
Oh, well, I'm using a different system
Program? Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Google Meet. It's sort of the business version of the old Google Hangout. And it's got some of the things that Hangout should have had, and it has some annoying things that Hangout didn't. So it all works out,
Gotcha.
Oh, look, I didn't know that you could change the color for the names.
Yep, you can change the colors. Like I can do, it gives me a big old brand thing. I could just be like, ooh, psychedelic.
That is a vitally important function to have. You know that. Never mind whether the audio works or the cameras work or whatever the hell. If you're going to have the colors, that's what it is. Perfect right there.
Well, I know my audio works, and I don't have to worry about video because, like, I'm using my goofy little avatar. I'm just looking at the different settings that you can get by default.
Yeah, there you go. No, I'm just being weird. Hell, you should know. Well, I don't know how long you've been around. Maybe I shouldn't say you should know by now. I've got a reputation for being weird. I have a reputation for a few things, but that's beside the point.
I've been a watcher for a long time, like just watching random people. I've only just recently gotten involved by like trying to go into streams and things. Started with Purple, mostly because Purple's got, a smaller audience, so it's less intimidating, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And I've already interacted with most of his audience on Twitter, so I'm less like shell shocked, I guess you could say. Oh,
well, here's the thing that you want to do. Hey, Jen, hi.
Hello, Jen.
Do you see what it did when Jen came on and it reapportioned for 4 people?
Yeah, that's cool.
This is the function that I would use because, as I said, we tend to maximize the screen area for each one of us. But I forget what the heck I was going, and it's probably all involved.
Kitty, are you going to be on the panel tomorrow night?
Who, me?
No, Kitty.
I don't know. That was.
Oh, by all means, come on, please.
Because if you are, everything that you were just saying is going to change.
Oh.
I sent this out as a tweet, and I have probably a couple hundred trans folks who follow me.
Oh,
and will get
intimidating.
And a lot of them are, well, almost all of them, pretty damn near all of them are the young people who are all caught in this discussion right now.
Oh man, it's amazing. Okay, you can slap me silly if you want to, but one of the things that I'm kind of maybe you'd call it disappointed or sad or whatever is that you get out to this venue and all the trans folks out there, they're 12, and here I am. I'm 62, and it's like, man, where are the people like me to talk to? Now there's you, Jen. And anyone within a decade of that, no, I think it's just you and me. Jen is, I think, 49.
Who, me? Yeah, 49. That's it.
No, I mean, no, Aussie Jen.
Oh.
I know how old you are.
That's right.
Okay, I have a suggestion. Let's call this Jen Gem, because she's Jen Morgan on Twitter, JEM.
Hey, there
That's
you go.
interesting.
And then we can have the aliens come and torture all of us to see if Jen Morgan is worthy to lead her people off the planet. You haven't watched the old Star Trek, have you?
No,
Well, actually, you could just call me GrannyJenn because I am.
GrannyJenn.
Well,
No,
I hate
when
to
I went
say
with
this.
Gem, when I said Gem, I instantly started thinking of Gem and the Holograms, the cartoon from like the 80s or
I was too.
70s.
Mm.
You went to a completely different direction.
Well, I hate to say this, Jen, but I will anyway. You know me, and you know me well enough. But you are as old as my babka was when the slimy bastards brought me home from a baby store.
Well, I'm your babka then.
Well, no, I mean, I was under 1 year old and babka
Yeah.
was 65. Now, there's a bit of a difference, from that to 62 to 65. But what the fuck? God, I'm old. I never thought I'd live this long.
But yeah, I might jump in on Purple's stream tomorrow. But
Oh, please do.
yeah,
Please do.
he changed. He decided on the topic because he had his midday stream today, and after it ended, Doc, me, Purple, and Try were having we ended up staying in StreamYards for another like 4 hours just talking. And we eventually
Yup.
got onto that kind of topic. We eventually got onto that topic, and he was like, "Well, you guys want to save this for tomorrow night? We'll make this the stream topic for tomorrow night." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess."
It sounds like fun. Really, it does.
Mhm.
I'm going to be at variance with almost everybody. But that's because I'm a biologist, not a sociologist.
Oh, that's good. Well, wait, like officially, or like you focus your thought process based on biology, or you're an actual biologist? I don't know.
I had intended to. I had intended to take a PhD in neuroscience. Unfortunately, I crashed and burned. I fell ill. I was not able to complete my PhD.
Oof,
I do come from the biological field of study.
gotcha. That's cool. I'm not highly educated. I only have an associate's degree, but it was with a focus in biology. I actually had wanted to go. I moved to Georgia because I wanted to go to Georgia State University. In fact, funny story, I came there to do a tour, and we were on the bus touring, and they passed by the biology lab, and they were like, "Oh yeah, this lab, it's like what's the designations for like biohazard levels, like based on the stuff that they can work with?"
Oh crap! I know what you're talking about. I don't remember the term. Damn it!
Well, basically, Georgia State's got like the highest tier, like level 4, where you can work with like anthrax and stuff. And they said that, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, cool. And then the person who was sitting next to me kind of looked at me and then like scooted over. She's like, "You said cool to anthrax? I'm scooting over away from you."
I went to school with a guy who had his heart set on working at USAMRIT. So, yeah, I'm familiar with that sort of thing. The U.S. Army facility for the infectious diseases,
Ah, yes.
Biological warfare, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, he had his
Okay,
heart set on doing that. And it's like, okay, I'm accustomed to hearing that crap. So, wait a minute, we're live?
Yeah, we're actually
Where do I look to see the side chat?
there is no side chat though. But I'll put a link to the location. What did I do?
I have a side chat. I'm looking at it on my YouTube on the YouTube site on my Xbox Internet Explorer. So it should appear as it does like on a computer.
Oh, you mean side chat for SteamYards or for?
Or
Oh, Bye, Doc.
What happened to Doc? Did he just went?
What account did it stream to?
It's streaming to mine, my YouTube account.
Are you
Should be.
Pirate Kitty? Are you Pirate Kitty on YouTube?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same. Yes, I'm using the same icon here as I am on YouTube. I was saying, well, I mean, there's no side chat. Is that there's only 2 people watching, and I'm pretty sure one of those 2 is me, because I had to make sure it was working. There we go.
Oh, right.
Is it Pirate Kitty?
I don't know what
or
just
Pirate
happened
Kitty
there.
2 words?
It is 2 separate words.
I'm getting. Yeah, this is the hard part.
Oh, there you are.
When
14 subscribers.
When your
26?
channel name contains very, very common words, you end up with a lot of.
Yes.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, viral video, Pirate Cat, Baby Kitten's Ocean Adventure, Legend of Pirate Cat. Jesus Christ.
Oh, did I not put that in? Oh, I put that.
Okay.
I'm going to confuse everybody.
Am I bleeding over? Oh man, that is annoying. If that's me, I've got to fix that.
There's some echo going on somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
That happens when you
now
use the
that it's
microscope.
me because I'm not using the headphones.
Oh.
I did it purposely, just to be a brat.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
It's too
Respect
bad.
your elders.
It's too bad I don't have my OBS running, and it wouldn't do me any good anyway. But I have all the photographs and the effects and all that stuff, and I've got to get that shit working one of these days. And I don't even have a fucking topic for Sunday, but that's another story.
Well, depending on how tomorrow goes, maybe it could be an extension of whatever happens.
Could be. And I have a little something to ask the people who were there on Sunday. I believe Sunday's show was the highest turnout to a live stream that I've ever had. It was something. I'm excluding the specials, like the memorial for Sci Strike and shit like that.
You had spectacular talent.
Oh,
please. Seriously, no. In your humble opinions, would that have been the topic? Or, I mean, am I just getting good? Am I getting that much better? I mean, I'll accept that and I'll try to keep doing what I'm doing. I was so very pleased with the turnout. I had in the 20s of people watching, and that's usually I would get in the high teens, but I didn't get up to where I was on Sunday until Sunday.
Diana?
Yes, dear.
I would think that you were aware of the obvious. Sex sells.
That's what I was wondering. I was wondering if that was it.
I think it was. I think it was a lot to do with the topic. But like I watched it after the fact, and I don't normally do that with streams because sometimes they get long. But yours wasn't terribly long, so I watched it, and it was like, Doc gone again. He must be having phone issues.
He always has phone issues. Yeah, it's we got to fix his feed one of these days. But I was noticing so many naked people in the chat, and if you're not familiar, that's a term carried over from movie night. If you don't have a wrench, if you don't have a spanner, you're naked.
Oh, okay.
So that meant that there were that many new people coming, and they were actually staying.
Nice.
Well,
they were
Diana, with this topic being thrown out into the Twitterverse, we very well could attract a lot of TERFs.
Yeah, that's true.
And we definitely should not be handing out moderator status to people.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
unless you absolutely know them.
I was going to say I'm a little on the conservative side. If I know you, if you've been around and have not caused trouble, and I mean it's not one of these things. If you're around for a day and you haven't caused trouble, no, not one of those. If you've been around for a while and have engaged and have not caused trouble and everything, I'm more likely to rent you.
In fact, I'm thinking that we should talk to Perp and get him to agree that we bounce any people expressing nasty turf type
Oh,
stuff.
I don't think that'll be a problem. Even if I'm not, I mean, I'm going to be there. Even if I'm not talking, um, I'm going to be in the channel, and I do have a spanner. So like, as long as Purple's okay with that, well, actually, I probably wouldn't be a good representative for that because I don't know that much about turfs except for maybe one or two things that they might say or do. I'm gonna try
Well,
something here.
They're pretty much a one show pony.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's turf. Once you get the idea and you have the idea of what's going on, you're pretty good. I mean,
Mhm.
there's Kentucky bluegrass, and there's coarse fescue and red fescue, and you can kill me now anytime you want.
Don't forget
What's going to
AstroTurf.
happen is if we get a lot of the new folks in, there's going to be people who are going to rail at people like Diana, Jens, and I that we are transphobe, and they're
Right.
going to say that based on the fact that we don't necessarily look at the general binary, non-binary, transgender, maybe, and people who basically want to dress up and be what they want to be, which is fine, but
Well,
aren't
I'm
going to
already
go
getting
have surgery.
I'm already getting that.
Yeah. So that's not a turf. A turf is the person who is a right winger, and basically wants us to be exterminated.
Yeah, the turf believes that we are men in dresses, that we should not exist, or at the very least should not come anywhere near, in quotes, real women. And I mean, people are
I
going to
thought
disagree with me. I know that John MacArthur disagrees with me. I know that Ken Ham disagrees with me. We are real women. Sorry.
Yep, I was born this way.
Yeah.
I thought turfs
So
were
that's
were feminists.
the young folks who disagree with us. That's fine. They can have their opinion. Their opinions are perfectly valid. I just don't
Yeah.
agree.
So, question for you guys:
Yes,
Can you
dear.
guys see who's backstage?
I'm sorry. Again.
I lost you under the coughing.
Sorry, can you see who's backstage? Like everybody that's along the bottom, or can only I see that?
I believe that only you can see that.
Yeah, I can't
I
see
don't
that.
see that at all.
Okay, I couldn't tell.
There's a blue
Okay.
bar on the right side of my screen that says "You're in the show. Everyone can see and hear you."
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, it's
before
on the
that, it
right
said
side of your
"You are
screen.
backstage."
So, because I was testing. Oh, there's Purple. Hello, Purple. Hey,
Hello.
Purple.
Are you perp?
Something going on here?
I was just testing out streams and seeing if I could do it since, when we were on stream, they said 100 users and I only have 26. So I wanted to see if I could, and apparently I can stream.
Yeah, voila, there you are.
Okay.
So I was just testing it out. Because,
Not too surprising that Yahoo's got contradictory information printed on
Well,
different pages.
I've had my
Or
account.
YouTube.
I've had my account for ages, so maybe maybe I've had my account so long that I grandfathered in. But let me test this part out here. I'm gonna mute here.
I don't hear Perp.
I'm getting a cup of coffee here. Oh my, I'm going to have to make some coffee, damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, it works.
Your
Yep.
camera's
Oh, so now
on.
you have two things on?
Oh wow. Oh,
Now we
wow.
all know what you look like.
Yeah, well, I was testing to see how.
I have to see Theory over here.
Well, based on all my previous experience, I'm going to go with that YouTube's policies are randomly
I
enforced
can't hear
and
Perp at all.
inexplicably incoherent.
Purple.
You've
Jen
talked
can't hear you.
about you've talked about not being able to do things, and yet you're doing them. Have you not, Purple?
Well, I still can't get any OBS to work with my system. StreamYards
Yeah,
doesn't
no.
need OBS.
This happened before. I'm going to go out and come back in.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jen's going out and can come back.
I would wonder if it wouldn't work for you to start up a new channel. The problem is, you've got brand recognition on this channel, on your channel now, and that could
Right.
be, yeah.
That's been the problem, that I have actually considered closing this channel and starting a new one, but then I need a new name and, get the name out there and all that, which...
I don't want to see you lose your channel or your name.
I have actually thought of switching over because I have G Suite, and eventually I'll be able to use YouTube in conjunction with G Suite. But I would have to start up a new channel, and the trouble I would have is that my view counts would go if I
Yeah.
moved everything over, and I really don't think I want that.
Well, that's pretty much what I figured, was that if I tried to move to a new channel, that at best I would get half of my subscribers to follow me.
At best. I mean, I've got
Maybe what you could do is start up another channel, keep it on the side, and when you want to use OBS, no, that wouldn't really work.
That's what Jones was doing when I was working with him. I worked with a channel called NCG Studios, and he would go back and forth between the two accounts that he had. And honestly, it was really confusing. If you wanted to find something that he had done, you really didn't know where to look. You had both channels, and it got annoying.
Yeah, I had kind of considered that idea of just keeping this channel for edited videos and doing live streaming on a separate channel.
Yeah,
there's a possibility there. I don't know. It's but thank you for reminding me. I have to do the edited videos. I keep promising, and I never get around to it.
Yeah, same here.
Oh.
I haven't put out a properly edited video since Easter, so.
Oh, why is this doing this?
Am I that forgettable?
No. Oh, there we go.
What are you doing? Where? How? Why?
Yeah. Just under the main box that everybody's in, there's a whole lineup of different configurations.
Whee!
Yeah.
That
you can play around with. Yeah, so if you want to highlight one person, that especially comes in handy if somebody's trying to share a screen.
Yeah.
Or you have this that only the person who's talking at the moment shows up.
With mine, I've got OBS set up to pick up. In my arrangement, I am never on screen to me. The other people in the chat see me on screen, but when I'm looking at that, I just see myself up in the corner. So I actually have two cameras. So I'll pick up the other people from the chat, on.
I wonder if this. Nope, that doesn't work. I'm just playing with the layouts because, like I said, I've done this before. I was hoping that if I went, cause there's one layout where it shows one big picture and two small ones, and I was thinking, well, maybe if I have it set on that, and then I select someone, they'll become the big picture. But it keeps my character focused on the big part.
Well, I think the big picture is always going to default to whoever's speaking at the time.
Right.
Yeah, there is a way under Google Meet where you can pin somebody on screen no matter who's talking. I don't know whether or not this emulates that.
There's not much to it, but it's functional.
What I really need a producer, a video board, and a floor manager, but I can't afford that shit yet.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh, hell, you're asking a lot. I would just like somebody to help moderate the side chat.
Yeah, we were talking about that just before you popped in, and saying, given the contents of tomorrow's your stream tomorrow, I said even if I'm not in chat, I might have to be paying a lot of attention to the side chat to make sure that if it attracts the wrong kind of attention, i.e. turfs, that there's somebody paying
Yeah.
attention to that to nip it in the bud, time people out, and
Well, it
stuff
sounds
things.
like Jen Morgan has already given this a lot more advertising than any of my
I meant to put Purple
Discord
Horse.
servers. So yeah, this is definitely going to be reaching people that I
Wow.
don't normally reach, and there's no telling what kind of people might show up.
Right. But that's the
No.
thing, like they were planning out your stream earlier, and I was like, I think you guys are putting the cart before the horse. And I meant to say Purple Horse, and I forgot just to put purple underscore horse.
Well, that's a horse of a different color. Come on in. Yeah.
Ah, you beat me to it.
Yeah, us old folks know the lines from the Wizard of Oz,
The Wizard of what?
The Wizard of Oz.
Never heard of it.
Really? Oh my
Oh, I'm kidding.
You're making me feel old.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
1959 film from MTV with Judy Garland and all that other shit,
Yeah.
I
was
remember
holding my
a friend
breath
of
waiting for
mine.
you to say.
I remember a
kidding,
friend of mine
yeah.
being so upset when she watched it that she was cursing that they had colorized The Wizard of Oz without realizing that until she was 18, they'd always had a black and white TV.
Well, that and remember that the beginning and the end were filmed in black and white,
Yeah, the first 10
and
minutes.
only the Oz stuff, the dream sequence, was in color.
Yeah, well, that was supposed to contrast how mundane her life in Kansas was.
Right. Oh my! Interview with Diana Wallstadt. I'm going to have to save this to the bar and look at it later.
What's going on?
On my YouTube front page, we have a 4-year-old video interview with Diana Wallstadt. Now, this person started a whole, at the time it was revolutionary, way of setting up aquaria, with the little fitties and the little things in there and everything else. A heavily planted tank that kind of resembled a natural ecosystem.
Oh, to try and make it a more self-sustaining system?
Yes, absolutely. And eventually, when I get that thing over there set up, which is going to be a while from now, but I do want to do it, I want to use Diana Wallstadt's method. So, yeah, I'm going to want to, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to want to bookmark this and come back and see it. Yeah, because when Cy was here, he pointed at the empty aquarium and he said, yeah, we're going to need fitties pretty soon. And I promised him that I would set it up. And unfortunately, he's not around to see it anymore, but I will keep my promise.
Yeah, I never
how
tried
big
to
of a
keep
tank is
anything
that?
terribly exotic, but I did always find that having some snails in the tank went a long way to helping keep the system clean.
Except
Yeah,
they
the only
breed like
problem I've ever
snails.
had is I can never have a few snails.
They always breed like crazy.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Say.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll end up with several hundred, literally.
Or more.
and that can happen if you just start with one. They can reproduce asexually.
And that happens
Oh.
with guppies, too. They breed spontaneously. The sperm survives in water, and pretty soon you get smaller and smaller and smaller babies.
Oh
Yeah,
man, I had a guppy tank years ago.
And then you put it in an Oscar
with
and
a pair of
clean
guppies,
them
and I
up.
ended up with like 1,000 of them.
Yeah, snails are actually capable of cloning themselves.
Oof.
Diana, I used to have this 20-gallon upright tank, and I had an Oscar in it, who, by the way, his name was Meyer. He was my Oscar Meyer.
Yeah,
And I had a cat at the time, and the cat used to of course, be fascinated by the fish and would watch and watch and watch. And over time, the cat figured out how to open the lid of the aquarium.
Oops.
But at the same time I was doing that, I was training the Oscar to come and jump out and take its food from me by hand.
Oh no!
I would sometimes feed it neon tetra. Well, I would feed it goldfish mostly, but at parties I would serve it neon tetras because they're pretty. And so I had these two dynamics happening, and finally one day the cat jumps up on the aquarium while I'm sitting there watching TV, and I can see it happening. And it opens the lid, and it's looking down at the fish, and the fish responds thinking it's going to get fed, and the cat starts to reach down towards the water slowly, you know, like they do. And the fish jumps up and takes the cat's paw and gives it a good you know, and the cat
oh my!
Absolutely freaks out, jumps up. The fish goes up and fortunately lands back in the water. And the cat goes running and never fucked with it again.
It reminds me of a Far Side cartoon that there's a tank labeled piranhas, and there's a cat with 2 wooden legs.
Hey, Purple, did you notice this? That you can go to comments and do this?
Now, I was about to ask you about that because I thought that was only available in the paid version.
Yeah, I have noticed. And how do you? There's a function that'll do that.
So when you're looking at it, there's a sidebar that says comments, banners, brand, and private chat. And if you go to comments, it's actually showing me the YouTube chat.
Do that again. Now, does that show up on the viewers?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if somebody in chat's making a comment you want to highlight, you can bring it right up.
Right.
Yeah.
How cool. That all the time.
Well, like I said, I've seen other people using that, but I thought that was only available to the paid version.
I really want to find.
So is this on YouTube now, or is this just a private chat?
No, this is going on YouTube on my channel.
Okay. I only saw the StreamYard link in the Twitter group.
Yeah, no, I was just this just started out just me testing it to see if I could stream. But we just been chatting about general things, but it's live. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, so that wasn't a chat off of YouTube. That was a chat internal to StreamYard here.
What? Which
Wait
one?
a minute.
Like I just wrote in chat.
I am not subscripted to you. Why is that?
That is actually so. When you said let me in, you said it in comments, which appears in YouTube comments. If you don't want it to appear in YouTube comments and you want it just between the group, there's a tab that says private chat. I don't remember what's over here.
I don't have any tabs like that. I have private chats and live comments.
Yep, that's
okay.
So you can monitor YouTube comments from StreamYard.
Oh, that I knew. Yes. Yeah. As long as you are the owner of the stream, right? Or can we all do that?
No, you can all see, but only probably I can highlight it.
Oh, there it is. Live comments. Yeah. I can see them,
see it
but
too.
it appears that I cannot add to them. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, for the record, whenever I'm running StreamYard, I usually do the pop-out chat from the YouTube over it, so I generally don't even see the private chat. I know it's there, but I don't think to look at it, because it's the only way that I can follow the YouTube chat at the same time that we're talking.
Who are you 4 sick little puppies that are actually watching us goofing off over here? I don't know.
It always happens. You know,
Well,
I title things like test stream, please ignore, and I get 4 or 5 people sitting in the side chat.
Pirate Kitty's in the chat.
Isn't there one where you put something up as a test stream or something and you ended up with 15 people or some shit like that?
Yeah, I got one that I was just trying to test out the cordless headphones. Yeah, and I got 15 people and it went on for 2 hours.
Yeah, full-blown chat. It was beautiful.
You know, and it's like, I didn't have anything to say or anything to talk about. I was just trying to see if I had the cordless headphones set up right.
I'm going to go out for a moment and
Jen,
change my
you're always.
avatar.
Okay.
Oh, Shitsky, don't mind me. I'm just reshelving books. There's a HUD inspection tomorrow, which annoys me to no end. These people
That's
look.
funny. I've got an inspection tomorrow also
It must be
because
inspection.
they're trying to get our building reclassified to a different program.
Oh, what is it now?
Oh, there's an invite button. I wonder
Well,
if I
it's
can-
a HUD building, but there's some new program. It's abbreviated RAD, but they never told us what it stands for.
Well, let's see if we can find anything. This would be.
And well, I read the, or I didn't really read, but I kind of scanned the document they had on it there. And it sounded like it doesn't really affect the people who are already in the building. It's just going to be a different screening process for new applicants.
Yeah, okay, we have, let me get this page up here so we can do this whole thing. RAD was created in order to give public housing authorities a powerful tool to preserve and improve public housing properties and address the $26 billion nationwide backlog of deferred maintenance. RAD also gives owners of 3 HUD legacy program, rent supplement, rental assistance payment, and Section 8 moderate rehabilitation, the opportunity to enter into long-term contracts that facilitate the financing of improvements. I've got the perfect face for radio. I know.
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
what you're reading sounds like the same document I was looking at downstairs. That basically it's something they're doing in order to get some more money to basically fix up the maintenance that's been neglected for a couple of years.
That would be kind of nice if they could really do something like that. Or the other thing, with the shit I went through a couple of years ago that ended up with me being here, the owners of buildings can have the contract with HUD. They can take the residents' rent contribution. They can take the HUD subsidy, put none of it into maintenance, let the building go to shit, and the sum total of what happens when they do that is HUD pulls the subsidy. The problem with that is we get punished. Not
it screws
the
the
owner.
residents.
Whoops.
Yeah, because
okay, that's what that is.
when they pull the subsidies, we can't afford to live there. It's either pay the market rent, which is always too high, or go homeless, or if you're really, 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 really lucky, and I admit I was really, 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 really lucky. I was offered this place, and it's a nice place. I'd rather have a different neighborhood because it's not easy to get around to everything I need to go to.
Yeah.
But the apartment's wonderful. Well, you've seen it, honey.
Yeah. Well, they did here last year. Not this summer, but the summer before. They managed to get the handicap parking lot in the alley repaved.
Oh.
Which doesn't do me any good because it's only space for like 5 or 6 cars. The main parking lot is across the street, and that's asphalt with, potholes big enough to rip my exhaust off if I'm not careful.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of repaving here as well. And the one,
Although
while
the guys were repaving the parking lot, since I know whenever you do cement work, you always mix up extra because you don't want to be short.
Right.
So I asked them about filling in a couple of the potholes, and they said, well, we can't really do that because that's technically city property. But I did manage to convince them that when nobody was looking, they could dump their leftovers in the potholes. So I did get 3 of the biggest potholes filled in.
All right. Yeah, the one thing
Cool.
that does make a difference to me, well, everybody in this building actually, is they actually laid some drainage pipe along the foundation, and hopefully the laundry room in the basement and the apartments in the basement are hopefully they're no longer a swimming pool because it was leaking like crazy down there. Um, you'd have a moderate rain, and you could hear the slap of the water droplets as they
Mhm.
hit the concrete floor. Um, I really haven't had a chance to look at what it looks like during a moderate rain.
Yeah,
Probably
fortunately, this building doesn't have a basement. It's just a slab on grade.
okay, because there are actually 4 units below grade in this
Mm.
building, and
Well,
then there's
this one's your basic four-story concrete block, which makes it the second tallest building in the city.
oh Jesus. Okay then.
Hmm.
Yeah, this
Sharing
is
picture.
Yeah,
uh,
literally the only thing that is taller than this building is the city hall.
okay then.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
that basically incorporates all the city offices, the police station, and until a few years ago, the library.
yeah, well, yeah, purple. As I say, you've seen this. The other folks who haven't, this is 3 stories, two of them above grade, um, block and brick. It's great in the winter. Holds heat like an oven. But that advantage in winter is also a disadvantage in summer.
I can
Yikes.
imagine.
But oh man, I tell you, I am so happy though. This is the first time in decades that I've had a decent kitchen.
Hmm.
I can actually work in there. It's about 7 by 7 or 8 by 8, something like that. I can turn around. I can actually open the oven door without smashing into the opposite wall. The only thing I wish I had, and you're not going to get it in a unit like this, is one of those in the house the slimy bastards had. You'd call it a lunch counter or a breakfast counter, where you had the kitchen on one side and the kitchen and the dinette on the other side, and you could actually sit by this counter and eat
Mhm.
there, because that would be great for filming my cooking. And as it is, I just have to dick around with whatever I've got. And
Hey, you could get on Kyle's show.
Oh gosh.
wait a minute, wait a minute. Are we talking about the Kyle I think you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
No, I'm not getting in the middle of that shit.
Oh
Not
no,
right.
no. He started off. He started a new channel called like Taste Chef, something like that.
Chat.
Uh,
Taste chat, I think.
I'm pretty sure it's Chef. I watched his intro video. Let me see. It's probably still in my history.
Okay, so I will go and have a look. Wait a minute. It is the YouTubes. Okay,
Oh,
I'm
it's
gonna.
Tasty Craft.
Craft, that's it, yeah. I sub to it.
Well,
And
I think it's actually a good thing that he's going in a totally different direction that doesn't really even involve this community.
hmm
Okay.
well,
Does it have 171 subscribers?
yeah, it did the last time I
Wow.
looked.
Okay, so it still does. I've got the right one. I just wanted to make sure.
It's an icon. It looks like it looks like somebody with a knife in their hand.
Well, what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
Um,
and let's see, his video has
It
21 thumbs up and 346 thumbs down.
oof. And it says something
okay.
about October 1st, I think.
Oh, that's it then. Yeah, the what I'm looking at is the guy has an iron skillet in his hand.
Yep, that's it. I think that's it.
I could really use an iron skillet, but I don't have anywhere to put it. Damn it!
I wouldn't know what to do with one if I had it.
An iron skillet? Really?
I'm not a very I can cook, but I'm not very skilled at it. For example, today's dinner was slop, which is basically ground beef and brown gravy with corn and rice, just mixed into a bowl.
Sounds delicious.
It actually is really good. It's very basic, but it's very good. And then tomorrow we're having chicken fettuccine alfredo with broccoli. Except it might
That
not be
sounds
fettuccine.
awesome.
I live for broccoli. I live for broccoli.
It's one of my favorite vegetables.
I'm not
I
allowed
like
to eat
broccoli, too.
broccoli.
Yeah.
Well, any brassica I will kill for.
I'm not allowed to eat it because it fights against my blood thinner, my warfarin.
Oh,
Darn it!
yeah,
Oh.
that stinks.
Oh, so you're
Damn.
taking rat poison.
Yep,
I've
Ew.
not heard
Oh.
of that effect before.
yep. Vitamin K.
Yeah, it's an anticoagulant. It interferes with how is it, vitamin K synthesis or metabolism? I forget.
I just know that vitamin K interferes with it.
Mm.
Oh, K interferes with it. Okay.
So it would stop it from working, basically.
Right.
Yeah, if ever I get around to it, well, okay, here's the darn thing. When we were starting this up, I was thinking, oh my word, I need another camera because I was on the other machine, which has no cameras on it. And then I thought, wait a minute, 5 cameras and I don't have enough? I'm expecting delivery. I'm expecting delivery of a camera today or tomorrow.
Well, how
I
come
actually bought
everybody
a
can afford a computer or two, and I can't get one? Damn. You guys.
Are you kidding me? I'm going so
too.
far. I'm going so far into debt. I mean, my nose holes are covered here.
Oh, they won't even give me debt. I'm that poor.
My biggest issue is that I just don't have time, like, to do. Well, I mean, I suppose I could have time, but then I would have no time to do anything fun, because I'm at work 9 hours a day, and then an hour before and an hour after to get ready and get unready, and it's like, and then I have to sleep.
I know that it sounds horrible that I'm complaining about not having the money to pay medical bills while I'm doing all this stuff.
Well,
Say again?
no, I was going to say,
Oh, okay.
if this is how you make some of your money, it's a business.
It is. It's not very much money that I'm making, but I do get a little bit. And if I don't spend this money, I don't have a channel at all, basically.
Right.
So that's the way I rationalize it. I don't know how some people, most people will agree with me or disagree with me or whatever the hell it is. What I'm hoping for is that I will have spent about all I'm going to spend for the next couple of years by the end of this year. I'm hoping. Oh, I'm hoping. Except for the operating expenses, of course, because I charge half of my internet connection against my Patreon income. Actually, I should probably charge more against my Patreon income, but I don't know that anybody would agree with me for charging half of it against.
But so I've looked at Patreon, not for myself, but to become patrons of other people. And, like, you can set goals, but you don't actually have to tell them what the goal is, do you? Like you can.
I don't know. I don't remember because I looked at it. And when I looked at it, I'm thinking, okay, that's not the way I'm operating right now. Some people can operate that way because they've got enough income and they can say, okay, I'm going to do this. I don't have enough income and I don't have enough consistency at this point. There was one point where my income jumped $15 in a month, and a couple months later, it dropped $20. One of those. Any change is going to be a significant percentage of what I'm getting. And, well, when you're not getting very much, that's what's going to happen. I get about $30 a month in income. And it was really great when Shannon posted a something or other, where her Patreon is about $130 a month. And she would do this for free, and I believe that she would do it for free. But it's like, God, it's $130 a month. Like, I would kill for 130. But the problem is, I don't know if I could afford to make that much. And that sounds weird, but
I understand it.
with all the government programs I'm on, especially my housing, if I make too much, I will make an extra $1 and lose $5.
Yeah,
Yep.
So I've got to be
It sucks.
really, really careful.
I understand how that happens.
Yeah. What would really be fun is if I could find just the right combination, find the right topics.
Well, the evil
And
thing about it is that they do it on a monthly. That 1 month you have a good month, next month you don't have a good month, but it doesn't go back after you have the bad month. They only screw you if you have a good month, and they don't benefit you if you have a bad month, and that's the evil.
And then
of
the
it.
other thing is, they go month by month because they think that all income is paychecks from Walmart or from BP or from whatever part-time job you're having, but that's not the case.
Yeah, they expect it to be consistent every month, and that's the problem I was having of being a self-employed handyman.
Mm-hmm.
That
1 month you
there
might
were
make.
some months that I could make $2,000, and there were some months that I didn't bring in $300.
Yep. And the other thing is that Patreon, for example, reports annually, but the government people want monthly. Because Patreon, and my understanding, the way it works, if you make 600 or more in a year, they'll send you a 1099, and you use that when you're filing your taxes or when you're reporting income elsewhere and everything else like that. But that's not what HUD wants to see. That's not what Social Security wants to see. They want to see everything, monthly. And, well, in some cases, like, for example, Pennsylvania welfare, which I'm so happy that I don't rely on, wants it weekly.
Now, Purple, what do you mean when you say that it won't pass the stream key?
The problem I've had anytime I've tried to set up a stream with any OBS software, and I've tried like 4 different ones,
Yeah.
is it gets hung up and the OBS says that, I get a message, something to the effect of this account is not approved for live streams or something like that. And even if I cut and paste the stream key from the YouTube to the OBS, it still will not connect.
Yeah, the stream key is a means of identification. It, in its own way, attempts to ensure that YouTube is receiving the stream it's supposed to receive. So on your OBS, for example, you insert a key, which it sends to YouTube, which checks it against the key that you've told YouTube to expect. And if the two don't match, then, go away. But if the two do match, then it's okay. Everything's fine. You can continue streaming.
Yep. And with my account, YouTube will never send that stream key to another program, so the stream keys will never match.
Yeah.
That's strange.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna try subscripticating to Tastecraft.
Well, I really think that has to do with the fact that YouTube deleted my channel twice before I uploaded my first video.
Mm-hmm.
And that somehow in there, there's a couple of bits that never got reset properly. Well, they didn't delete the channel. They said they suspended it. But they never said how long it was suspended for or how it would get reactivated.
Yeah, and what's really fun is that whenever you have a problem with YouTube, you can never get a human. You can never talk to a human.
Yeah, I've tried appealing it over and over, and all I get are form letters from bots.
I mean, I think some of the larger channels even can't get through to a human.
I'm pretty sure unless you got 1 million subscribers, you probably never will.
Yeah, pretty much. And well, that's all YouTube. That's all YouTube cares about anymore. I mean, when we see the what they've done with the stream on air, the Hangout on air, Ty and I were talking about that.
Helps to explain why that one person went and shot up YouTube.
Pretty much. The size idea was, which I totally agree with. YouTube is losing sight of the people upon whose backs they built their business to chase the corporate dollar. And the corporate people are not going to bite because YouTube is not consistent with the rest of us. You know, they display no consistency, so corporate world doesn't want to deal with them. And so I was predicting that YouTube was going to go eventually.
Well, I think the other thing that YouTube is not getting is that the corporate channels are not going to attract a significant amount of new viewers.
Right.
You know, that if YouTube goes along the current course, they're going to kill off all the small channels, and not that many people are going to come to YouTube, you know, looking for CNN or looking for the big corporate stations. If they don't have the little channels that are, you know, discussing fringe communities and, you know, crafters and such, that people just aren't going to come to YouTube at all. And their viewership will fall off to the point that the corporate channels will not see the point in hanging around.
Yep.
I don't think that's going to happen because there are so many things on YouTube. I mean, I've got, you know, you go on YouTube to look up shit that obscure as all get out.
Yeah, but if YouTube keeps doing what they're doing, they're going to push the small creators away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I'm saying is that
Not
without the
not
small
unless there's a place
creators,
for them to go to. You know, if Discord started offering up videos,
and that's probably what's going to come to, you know, it's going to get to the point that eventually some other company is going to see the state that YouTube is running at, and they're going to start telling the small creators, you know, come over here, we'll be more transparent about our policies, and you can actually run your channel.
Twitch is doing a great job.
Yeah. Twitch and Discord, I think, are already, you know, kind of cutting into YouTube. I don't think either one of them really offers, you know, the same kind of thing, because Twitch is mostly, you know, focused on gamers.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't really offer, you know, the kind of open platform for people who are doing other things.
Well,
But there's lots of other stuff on Twitch that I watch.
yeah, they've added a bunch of different headers on Twitch now for different activities that you can stream. Like there's one for just chatting, which I often see Jake from Hugo and Jake using.
NASA is on Twitch.
They've got art. They've got art tags now that you can like for art people to stream doing art. Talk shows. Oh, I'm looking at it right now. There's Dungeons and Dragons art, tabletop RPGs, talk shows and podcasts. And then there's of course there's titles for each game, but there's all kinds of different options for you to select what you're doing, whether you're just chatting.
And people say that they monetize much, much better on Twitch than YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, and if Twitch is really offering a good option for people, you know, who want to do edited videos,
Oh,
then
yeah, no,
it may just be a matter of them gathering the following.
Well, I mean,
certainly hear people talking about it a lot more.
mm-hmm.
Can you simulcast on Twitch and YouTube at the same time?
That's an interesting one. Don't know.
Yes. Actually, StreamYards has just added that option.
Groovy. Also, I've been waiting 1 hour, 4 minutes, 30 seconds to ask Purple a question. I noticed on YouTube, you've got a for next week that says, "Folks, no chat tonight. See you next week."
Yeah, for Thursday the
I was
17th.
wondering what that was about.
Because
Yeah.
on that day I'm going to be driving to Minnesota for a gaming convention.
Oh, did you get your breaks?
Well, part of the reason why I figured out if I could do this, because you remember I brought it up in the chat. I was like, why don't you just have somebody fill in, have them host a stream on their own channel in your normal time slot for your normal people to get together and just chit chat. And I was like, I wonder if I could do that kind of thing. I don't know.
Well, and that
What?
could certainly
Yeah,
be
that's a good
done. I
idea.
just
What? Wait, why fuck this stream? You so mean. I just messaged this. Oh, the only problem is I can't mod stuff from here. I'm gonna time you out, and I'm just kidding.
Perp,
Where is my?
about tomorrow's show.
Yeah, what?
Oh, about tomorrow's show. Since we've sent advertising out onto the Twitterverse, there's a good chance we're going to get a bunch of turfs in here. I would strongly recommend not passing out wrenches.
Well, I don't give out wrenches to people that I don't know.
Okay, good.
It has to be somebody that I've
and the moderators
at least seen in someone else's chat stream enough to know how they behave.
And the moderators are going to need to know how to recognize these people from their ugly messages and differentiate between them and the newbie young trans folks who are involved in the discussion.
That's a bit more of a problem, is I've never had a designated moderator.
Well,
it's just something that hasn't really come up for me on my channel yet.
Am I a mod on your channel? Because I can run my phone on YouTube and my pad on StreamYard.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll be there. I'll be there even if I'm not in the chat. I tend to monitor chat anyways, even when I'm not. Even when I'm in chat, I've looked at chat to keep it. But with your normal streams, it's just regular people that they've all got spanners and they're not. Problematic.
And that's I'm pretty certain that everyone here, already has the moderator privilege on my channel.
I don't remember if I do or not, but if I don't,
I'm pretty sure I do. I may be one of the first to have received it, right, hon?
Yeah, most likely you were.
Is there somewhere to see on YouTube who you have set as moderators for when you stream?
I believe there is. If you give me a minute, let me look here.
I'm also going to change my name on StreamYard back to my actual name. So it's different than it says in chat on YouTube. So if I am doing moderation things, they're not saying, oh, well, the panel's moderating the.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you changed your handle, if that's going to affect things.
Oh, I have a different avatar on YouTube than I do here. That's why I changed it.
Let's see.
It'd be cool to get Tony Designs in on it. I can
hit him up. I'm on like 7 Discords with him.
I would prefer not.
Yeah.
No?
I have issues with him.
Oh, really?
I don't really want to go into, but
no problem.
Well, he's a mod on like many other people's channels.
Well, I think everybody's going to have issues with everybody, or everybody's going to have issues with somebody. Let's put it that way.
Well, that's true.
I have issues with certain people, and
yeah, you do what you want. It's your channel.
Yeah, and some of them are old friends, which really hurts. But that's another story entirely.
Yeah, I'm not sure where to find it now, but I seem to recall that there was some place.
Tony has. I'll just lay it out. Tony has a tendency to whatever the damn topic is, get it onto gun control stuff, and just trolls the shit out of people with it.
Hmm.
And it makes me crazy that it takes the chat so far off topic.
Jen, to drive you crazy, you got to put you in reverse. No, huh?
Yeah, I had not experienced that with Tony, but I'm not nearly as present as he or probably any
Yeah, he hasn't
you
done that to
guys.
me. Yeah, he's been on he's been in the side chat and coffee with lavender and shit. He hasn't done that. Maybe because it's so early, I have received complaints about how early it is. He's not totally awake yet, so that might be a possibility. Yeah, there's a certain person on the West Coast who's complaining that I'm starting too early, and it's like, what do you want? Start at 3 p.m. You know, come on.
I'll be right back.
Oh,
Yes,
if you
here I
go
found
to
it.
yeah, I just saw it. If you go to settings and then under community, you've got moderators and then approved users.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. If I can see where this is. Okay. Settings. Open link in new tab because I don't want to destroy this one.
Oh, you can actually
wait a
pre-approve
minute.
someone.
No, that's right.
Yeah, it's under the Creator Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm dealing with I'm on the browser that isn't connected to my YouTube channel, so I've got to bring up the other. This is a pain in the ass the way they do G Suite.
Oh, this is a pain in the ass too. Like if you just want to add somebody as a mod, you have to like find their URL. So like you can't just like type purple rhymes with orange and make him a mod. You have to find his channel URL.
Okay, channel managers, add or remove managers. I guess.
Nope. It's if you go to the studio, it says dashboard video. Well, hold on. I can try this.
Yeah, under community settings.
Oh, so you want the.
There you go. You should be able to see it now. Oh, it's very small. I hope I'm not putting anything.
So I go to YouTube Studio, which I absolutely detest.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, settings there.
Mm-hmm. And then you should see community.
I see community.
Click on that, and then it should say moderators and then approved users.
Hello.
And
yeah,
hidden users.
I got a shitload of moderators going here.
You know, it's actually a good thing you made me look at this list.
Why's that?
Well, I just realized that there are a couple of people who were still on my moderator list from who knows when, who are people who have now blocked me.
Oh.
So yeah, I probably wanted to remove those.
Probably. Now, what the hell is an approved user?
If you have comments with filters and things, I think that means that they can post and you won't have to approve it. So you can put purple on there, and whenever purple comments on your videos, it appears right away.
Okay, fine. We can do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I'm trying to think. Who else should I put on this list? Oh.
Blocked words. Oh my word. I'm not all for censoring that way. I understand that some people are, and I understand that they have their reasons.
Oh, that's actually a thing. Oh, okay, I didn't see that down there.
Yeah, I'm not going to block anything just based on words. You know, but if it's a person who's not approved, it will hold the comment for you to look at it before it goes public.
Yeah, back in the days of IRC, if anybody remembers Internet Relay Chat, you've got to be on the old side to remember that shit.
I do.
There were a couple chat channels I was on,
There's a comment on screen. I'm highlighting it.
Wow, who would block purple? Yeah, I don't know. Whoever would block purple's got to be a little bit questionable. I know who blocked purple, but that's beside the point. But no, on a couple of the chat channels, there would be picture trading going on in the background, and they didn't want that, so they would block words like trade. And I got thrown off the channel at one point when I talked about a trade-in.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the kind of thing where you're the only thing you're gonna want to block is gonna be like really, really outrageously bad things, like not the fuck word, the other F word, or you know what I mean.
Wait a minute, which F word is that?
I'm not saying that word.
Well, see that's the problem with
It's got an
blocking
F and two
words.
G's in it.
The
Oh,
problem
that
with blocking words is there are very few
correct.
things that a word has only one meaning.
Yeah.
Right, but when you're streaming and like the example that I just gave, if you're streaming and you've got a lot of gay people or lots of LBGTQ, I tried to mix that one up, GSRM as Mr. Atheist calls it. There's only one context where anybody is going to throw that F word into chat, and that is to try and be derogatory towards someone.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, because the one that really pisses me off is that in some libraries, in some schools, et cetera, Mark Twain's novels, especially Huckleberry Finn, have been pulled off the shelf for language.
Right, that's
And
it.
you've got to remember that that use is a historical citation.
Mm-hmm.
You're not calling anybody that.
Mm-hmm.
It's simply, and Clemens himself was anything but a racist, really.
Actually, there was a wonderful story while he was still alive that he went into the town library and asked them if they had pulled his books, and they admitted they had. And he asked them if they had Bibles, and they said that they did. And he said, "I thank you because I would not want my books to be next to such dribbleless fiction." I don't remember the exact wording, but just that he felt it was an insult to his writing to be housed in the same place with Bibles.
And I could imagine very easily that he would have said that.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was
I think I know what you're talking about there. He was awesome. Mark Twain was a very cool dude.
I would.
Oh yeah, especially for his time, he had amazingly progressive ideas.
I would like
Oh,
to
yeah.
have been able to meet him.
Okay.
That would have been.
He predated me by just a little bit.
Yep. If I had a time machine, that's one dude I would check out.
I believe.
That they have those questions about if you could, like have 5 historical figures to a dinner party, who would
he
it
would be
be?
one
And
of
it's
them.
like, yeah, Ben Franklin and Mark Twain
Oh.
are always at the top of my list.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Twain died 47 years before I was born. So, oh well.
I often hear that one, and it's hard for me. It's hard for me to think of 5 historical figures that I would actually.
Yeah, it takes me a while to fill it out beyond those 2, but
Now, there's the thing, though, when they're saying historical figures, what do they mean by historical figures? Are they talking about people who had lived in a time before this one? If that's all, I can think of quite a few people. But if they mean somebody, a statesman or something, who made a mark on history, then I've got a problem.
Right. Well, I'm just thinking if any. I'm just trying to think of 5 any peoples.
What about historical figures from the future?
That would be impossible. Let me see.
Not really. I mean, technically, you could travel to the future, spend some time there, learn. You could go like 100 years in the future and learn who became famous and died in the next 100 years from your perspective. Especially if they didn't live at all, weren't born yet during your time, they'd be a completely historical figure.
Mm-hmm.
From a certain point of view.
What I can think of right offhand would be Mark Twain, Dick Feynman, and I do know that he was alive while I was alive, but I never did get to meet him. Damn it!
Okay, I've got my number one. It's got to be Hitch.
That's another one I'd like.
Oh yeah.
I didn't discover him until after he had died, and I was so sad that I did not discover anything about him until after he had passed away.
That's same here. I only know him,
too,
from recordings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is a story that Jerry DeWitt tells, and I have no reason to disbelieve the story, but he had bought a ticket to a convention early on in his deconversion. It was a VIP ticket, but then his son wanted to go to that convention, so Jerry decided that he was going to sit at the dinner table with his son and not exercise the privilege of the special seating at the VIP dinner. And I believe Silverman took the seat. But the point about that was that the seat that Jerry gave up was right next to Hitch.
Mm.
And he says he's kind of unfortunate that he didn't get to sit next to Hitch and talk with him, but he is still not complaining. He's still saying he'd rather have been there with his son and not leave his son alone while he sat with Hitch.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so then my other so I've got three so far: Christopher Hitchens, Joan of Arc, and Cleopatra.
Oh man, Cleopatra would be a fine character to talk to.
Either Cleopatra or Nefertiti. If that's a
Hey,
real person, I don't know.
Diana,
Now,
Yes,
see,
sir.
again, when you go that
There's
far
a-
back,
there's
I
a-
kind of wonder if
there's
the
this,
people would be
tweet-
anything like the legend.
there's
Well,
a
that's
tweet
part-
that just came up.
Who, what, where, when?
There's a tweet that just came up. It says from a woman called Feminist Next Door, and it says, "I'm 32 today!" Exclamation point. Basically elderly. Full
I
stop.
saw that tweet. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we were talking a little back and forth about what
had to write her back.
elderly is.
I wrote back with all due respect, and then a line of laughing faces. Next line, try 65, sister.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm elderly at 32. Fuck you. And the horse you rode in on twice.
See,
Did you ever notice? I was just gonna say, did you ever notice that people that are in their 70s or 80s are called old, but people in their 40s and 50s are called older? You ever notice that? Like an older gentleman in his 40s,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
but
Oh,
a 70-year-old is old,
That's
an old
because
man.
the world
Carlin
consciousness
railed
is
on
always
about
20
that.
to 35.
I mean, I've been older most of my life, okay? Because when I was 17, people thought I was 35.
It's just a funny thing people do with the language that's kind of silly. And then and it's a George Carlin joke.
Oh, that's one. That's definitely one. Now that you say
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Absolutely. I wish I could have met him.
My favorite Carlin joke was, what's the opposite of nonchalant?
Yeah.
Chalant?
Kelly and I talked back and forth a little bit, but
Hello, Orla. Welcome to my first ever stream on YouTube.
Orla, where did you get
Hola,
the cute
Orla.
avatar?
Hi.
Where did,
Hello.
Hi, dear.
Orla, where
How
did you get the
are
cute
you?
avatar?
I'm okay. It's like 6:30, and I'm gonna have to start getting the kids ready soon, so I won't be here long.
You're just getting up, and I haven't even been to bed yet. So Jen is asking you where you got your avatar from.
That cute avatar.
Cute avatar. I don't know if you guys can hear each other. There's been some communication issues going on.
I just did a search for anime girls making faces.
Oh, okay.
My avatar, if anybody's curious, is a commission from Gaelic Knox, Cirrus the Skeptic's channel artist. She's streaming, or sorry, they are streaming for, or they were. I don't know if they finished or not. But commissions to come to the United States in order to meet Cirrus and Raziel. So if you want some art, this character cost me like $10 because I got 2 of them for 20. Because she was doing an hourly thing. Let me see if I can show it to you blown up a little bit. I'm going to try this share script.
Yeah, if you go to the share screen, you should be able to.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have to open the picture you want in another program.
Actually, everybody
and
double
then share
tap
the
on,
application screen.
Mm-hmm.
double tap on Pirate Kitty's screen in this, and you will see that it enlarges.
There you go.
There's also details to it. So
what is that? A frog in the bottle?
No, that's Ocean Keltoy in a bottle with his cat.
Oh.
So the thing is Ocean is a djinn, water elemental.
Okay.
And so at some point during creating this artwork, well, first off, she was drawing herself in this derpy position, or this derpy, wide-eyed, weird mouth style, and then she drew Raziel like laying on her or on top of her, and I'm like, I want on, you got to do it. So she drew this one, and so I had asked her, I said, it's a pirate, so she's got to have some rum. So then we drew the bottle of rum, and then through Cirrus's suggestion, they were like, "Oh, you should have Ocean in a bottle." And then we were going to put his cat, because I don't know if you can see the cat very
I was
well.
looking for that.
Yeah.
Let me try and zoom him in.
Yeah, I can see.
The cat.
Yep, in the neck of the bottle.
And he's got his arms and legs splayed because he's not going to end up in the alcohol. And so when we were first drawing this picture, I had imagined that the rum bottle would be empty. I'd be like, she's in a panicked, screamy face because the bottle is empty. The bottles are empty. So then we put Ocean in the bottle, and Ocean is screaming, and she is screaming, and now it's a horror story because she tried to drink a bottle of rum that had a little person in it.
Well, Ocean's a water elemental, so it gives a different meaning to Ocean being drunk.
And how did those large creatures get down the skinny neck? See, there's all these questions.
Ocean's a water elemental, so he turned into a solid form in order to prevent himself from mixing with the rum in the bottle.
Oh,
and
so
water elementals can
So they're an anti-rum bigot.
Oh, that's it. No, he just doesn't want to absorb all that into his body and gets super drunk in 15 seconds.
An anti-rummer?
A
rummist?
I'd like to find enough cash. And
yeah, I can imagine that if alcohol was 30 to 50% of your total body weight, you'd be in a pretty bad state.
I'd like to find some cash that I could actually make a pledge to Paul, to Apologia, because I would like to see what he would do with a portrait of me.
Diana, did you see the zoomed in part of the picture?
Let me to see. Okay, we got on the bottle over there, and then is the giddiness over on the bottle, the neck over there, to
Yep.
on the cork tool looking, and then you've got the frog type thing over there in the bottle, which is the ocean, right? Yes.
It's not a frog. It's just he's got a beard.
Yeah.
And
Um,
Now,
so
Diana, remember for tomorrow's show, you have to curl your hair and do your makeup.
Oh hell! I never learned how to do any of that stuff.
okay, Diana,
Yes, dear.
you were saying about Propologia, and I believe if you look at his Patreon, I believe he still has that offer that if you subscribe to his Patreon for $5 a month, that he'll do an avatar of you. That's where I got mine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I'd like to see what he would do with an avatar of me, how he would represent me, because
Yeah, well, I sent him a picture of me and a picture of Fafner, the dinosaur, the Triceratops at the Science Museum of Minnesota, and just asked him to transpose the two together, and this is what he came up with.
we're friends. We talk back and forth, and he's got that aspect of my personality going, and he knows the Diana that's off air. And
Yeah.
it would be interesting to see how he represents her.
Yeah, when I wound up, not getting paid for a lot of work I did, I had to cut back on a lot of my patrons, but I was subscribed in for about a year.
yeah, I was recently going through Patreon trying to become a patron of a couple people with at least $1, but Apologia I put it at the $5 mark because I'm like, one Apologia avatar.
Yeah. Well, also, Paulogia was one of the first atheist channels that I found.
Hmm.
So I
haven't-
had been watching him for like 4 or 5 months really before I found most of the community.
That's the interesting thing. I've been around quite a while before he started his channel, but I didn't find him.
Oh,
Um,
Maya's in the chat. Hi, Maya.
The way I discovered Paul was the show he did with Anti Ordinary. Just somehow that came up on my feed, and I'm thinking, okay, let's have a look at this, and I discovered Paul and Demi at the same time.
Hmm.
I have discovered quite a few other creators through Paul.
Yes,
At
absolutely.
least 7 or 8 other channels that I subscribe to, I discovered
Oh,
because Paul had
yeah.
them on his guests.
Yeah.
Yeah. I discovered Purple Dan through Paul.
Yep, he was one of them. I have wondered what's happened to him. I haven't seen anything from him for about a year now.
Right. It was right after his pigeons died that he
Yeah.
sort of fell off the edge of the world. I had spoken to him a little bit since then, and I think the pigeons dying played a part of it, but I think the rest of it was that life caught up with him.
Hmm. I was aware that the pigeons had something to do with it, but I had wondered why he wasn't able to get back into it again so long after that.
By the way, Diana,
Yes, sir.
Karis's YouTube account or Twitter account has disappeared again.
Yeah, Upside Down Sweetie just told me that because he DM'd me, and this is a very annoying thing that's going on. Karis has been hiding a lot. It takes just the tiniest little thing to get her to go into her shell. She's still pretty much a mess. Oversized death. Because those two were close.
Yeah, I understand.
They were closer than Cy and I were. And Cy and I were close enough that I can imagine some people wondered if we were married or something. So
Okay, I just want to make sure you were aware.
Yeah. When was it? Let me look at the thing over here. Okay, it was at 1:13 a.m. So that was about half an hour ago that he that Naja asked me if I have any contact with Karis, and her Twitter is gone. Yeah, she deactivated her Twitter a week or two ago. She just come back,
Oh boy.
and now she's gone again. For the moment, I'm guessing that she deactivated her Twitter again. Because she had said something to me that there were a couple people talking to her, and they reminded her of Sai too much, and the conversation would always go in that direction. I think they were trying to talk to her about the what's going to happen with the channel and everything, and she didn't want to talk about that right now, and so it was getting to be too much. She had to hide, and I'm hoping that that's what that is this time. I could imagine that if people were pushing me on, what to do with the channel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, I'd be tempted to go the same way.
Yeah, I can imagine that she's still going to need a lot more time to process all of that.
Yeah, but she knows she's got people who have been chatting with her and helping her and talking with her and stuff. And when she deletes her Twitter account, that cuts us off from even checking in to see if she's doing okay.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that I really dislike when people say or words, because there's like 3 people who've done that recently. The atheist rationale Shay, she disconnected her YouTube channel, her Twitter, her Discord, and just dropped off the map. In fact, you guys saying this reminded me that I had been meaning to ask Shannon and Callan if they'd heard from her, if she was doing okay. Ozman Cometh's done that a couple times where he just disconnects his account, and I'm just like, how are we supposed to? I mean, how are people who aren't connected to you in 30 other ways supposed to check and make sure that you're doing okay? I mean, you set your Twitter so that you can't receive DMs from anyone you don't follow, and you just don't check Twitter, so that people that follow you at least can DM you and be like, "Hey, are you doing okay? We're worried about you."
Well, I can kind of see where Karis is coming from.
Oh yeah, she's got a slightly.
Just go run away, disconnect from everybody, and not hear anything, because the smallest bit of it.
Oh, that's good. Thank you for highlighted comment.
Say again?
Related comment. Maya says, Shay has a new YouTube account. I've seen her a lot in Nakasuchi's side chat. That's good to know.
Okay. Yeah, actually at this point, there's at least a half dozen people.
That's the biggest picture
I've
ever seen of Maya.
in at least 3 or 4 months that I've been wondering about, not getting any response from them.
Yeah, I like this, because now I'm sitting here going, what is this? It's Jen's avatar. I'm like, oh, I can make it bigger.
Yeah, what's a real outfo about this whole thing was the night before he died, Cy and I were talking back and forth. I had discovered a limited edition chicken sandwich from KFC, which consisted of a piece of chicken between 2 glazed donuts. No, I'm not kidding.
I saw the ad for that.
And I mentioned it to Cy, hey, do you have to come back out here? Because the day before he had been here in connection with my biopsy. And he said something to the effect of, yeah, okay, there was talk of a barbecue, wasn't there? Saying, okay, yeah, come out for that and come out for the sandwich. He was supposed to have come out here. Karis was going to come up from where she is. There might have been a couple other people coming here for a late summer, early autumn barbecue. And then, yes, I died and everything went into and really messed everybody up as well as everything. We had plans going for various things, and when shit like that does happen, it really messes with your head. Wait a minute, what's he? Oh, that's what Upside Down Sweetie had to say. Okay.
That doesn't do any good unless it converts that to a clickable link on screen.
And what's really a pain in the ass here, I may need surgery soon, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to get myself there and back. Damn it.
Yeah, I wish I were closer to you for that.
Because this just came up. I believe I'm developing an umbilical hernia. But I will be seeing my GP next week. See what she has to say about that. I really don't want surgery anytime soon. I find surgery to be annoying.
Well, to put it lightly, yes.
I've had surgery a couple of times already, and it's just it's annoying.
What is an umbilical hernia?
Okay, it's basically where the intestines begin to protrude from the body wall right in the area of the navel.
That's what I expected.
The body wall becomes weak, and then you have that whole thing going.
Yeah, I just had that. I got that repaired 2 years ago. Which ironically is kind of the reason I found the atheist community.
Oh yeah, because you were just binge watching that stuff.
Well, I had 6 weeks that I could barely get out of my chair, so I had nothing else I could do but just sit here and watch stuff on YouTube.
Okay, that's another reason I really don't want surgery anytime soon.
Yeah, I have a incisional hernia left over from when I had cancer surgery, which is fun because they won't repair it because it's not big enough.
Okay, but I take it's annoying.
Yes.
Yeah,
it does interfere a bit.
Yeah, I'm understating intentionally.
One of the reasons that they do that with hernias is because the repair of them is not all that guaranteed. Hernia repairs tend to work or not work. And they have these meshes and things that they put in. The meshes can be problems.
Yeah,
and so they don't want to go in and let's say absolutely have to.
And that's the thing. I don't want anybody going in unless they absolutely have to. I don't want anybody going in and it doesn't work for them who have gone in.
It's the same for cataracts. They told me when I was first developing cataracts that, well, they're not bad enough yet. Let them get ripe.
Yeah, I've always thought that's weird wording for cataracts. It's like they have to ripen before they can take them out. I'm just like, they're not fruit. They're not vegetables. Weird wording.
Yeah, that's the whole damn thing. I've gone on this long, and now I make 62 years of age, and everything's falling apart at once. Oh man, I don't know. Next thing you know, certain body parts will fall off, and it's not that I don't want those body parts, because those body parts can be turned into other body parts. Okay.
Not if they fall off.
I know. But I'll tell you that with my luck, even if $100,000 did fall out of the sky, given the condition I'm in at this point, they probably wouldn't work on me anyway. So, what are you going to do?
I can't tell you how wonderful it was to have my hips replaced. I was in such agony for like 15 years of
Ooh.
just intense stabbing pain every time I moved and tried to walk, and wearing out shoes badly because of the limp I had and stuff. And then, boom! All of a sudden, it's gone. It's like, wow.
StreamYard just scrolled my YouTube comments all the way back up to the top, and I glanced over, and I'm like, why is Jen saying hi to Maya again, and Maya saying hi to Jen again? They already did this, and then I scrolled, and then I saw that I'm at the top again.
I'll tell you though, a surgery like that at an age like this probably wouldn't be all that bad, because my understanding is that joint replacements have a limited lifetime.
Yep.
So if you need to have a joint replaced at say 50, you're going to have it replaced if you have your expected lifetime a couple more times. But if you have it replaced later, you might get along just with that one and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Just like a fucking boob job, because I guess you're supposed to get it replaced every 10 years
I haven't heard that.
or something like that. I mean, if that's the case, I don't know that I'm going to live another 10 years. I rather doubt it. So, were I able to get a boob job, that would be the one, and that would be it. That would be beautiful. I'd love it.
Hey Maya, what is Shay's new YouTube channel name? Do you know? Do you feel comfortable sharing that? I'd like to go give them a follow.
Break road, we're up to see the wizard. Anyway.
It's a pirate. It's a pirate channel. Arr.
AR? Okay, thank you.
That was the one I saw that I really, really appreciated. I believe it was a certain young lady who posted the question. We don't know about the yellow brick road, but where did the red brick road go? Because those who've seen the film may remember.
It went to my backyard.
Okay, fine, that'll work. Oh my. Okay, wait a minute. Where is we is to is on into? Okay, there is there, and there is there. And that goes over there, and that goes back there. And then I hit the switch, and look, it explodes. How do you like that? And here is my friend, the broccoli.
Oops. Ah! Wrong buttons. I'm trying to see. There we go. No, come on. Oops. It was the wrong button.
Oh my! My ex gave me this for Christmas one year. IKEA had bins full of stuffed vegetables.
Trying to find
was
a
all kinds of fun.
picture. Let me see. Where is this picture?
Just the goofing off on that thing for you, and that thing is the thing on that thing. Wait a minute. Okay, you say Sloth Girl needs a tall person. Why is she not here?
Because I don't think I've ever interacted with Sloth Girl before. I don't know. Not that I would mind.
She's an absolute sweetie.
Oh yes, I've interacted with her very, very little bit. Where's this picture of my cat?
Meow.
Because you showed a picture of Sylvia earlier, and I'm trying to find a picture of Mrs. Beardsley. which is my sister took this absolutely lovely picture of my cat, Mrs. Beardsley, as she was underneath the Christmas tree. Oh, okay. I'm like, wait, I'm confused. You lost somebody.
Yeah, I am totally pissed off. I had to get rid of mine because there's no place for me to keep it. It's one of those things that you can use just for a few weeks, and then the rest of the year you got to find some place to put it.
Mm-hmm.
And those of you who have lived in Section 8 housing know the way HUD gets. Their attitude is just like the male slimy bastard's attitude was back when he was talking to me. He actually
No, what
told
the
me at one
fuck?
point,
Oh, sorry.
he told me at one point, "You're poor. You're not supposed to have anything."
Oh wow, that's shit. Okay, so
And
this is Mrs. Beardsley.
okay, wait a minute. We got kitty.
And then let me see, because there's one other cat picture in here.
My oh my! That's a rather small Christmas tree, isn't it?
Well, yes, my sister has a very small Christmas tree. There's no children involved in my generation, so she just has the obligatory Christmas tree, and I'm just sitting there going, forget the Christmas tree. I don't really celebrate Christmas myself.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
I hate it.
There's no kids. The only people that's just me and my boyfriend, so it's like whatever. Where's this picture of Junebug? I'm trying to find the picture of this cat's mother when she was little.
But the other problem with the Christmas tree is, yeah, Sylvia won't let me have one. She shreds it while I'm setting it up.
Yeah, some cats take to Christmas trees really well. I mean, a lot. Not
Yeah,
well.
she's the only one that's done that. All the other kittinesses that have had me have been good with the Christmas trees. Even Winston, I mean, he would get into the Christmas tree
But it
and
would knock stuff off of it.
no, he would just get up in the branches and fall asleep.
Hidden ornament.
Yeah.
There we go. That cat on the screen now is the other cat's mom.
Wait a minute. This is the mother of the other kitty?
Yeah, when she was little.
I was going to say this had to have been taken when she was a tiny kitten.
Mm-hmm.
She looks, what, about 10 weeks old?
I'm not even sure how old she was when we got her. Yeah, let's see. Oh. I like this. This is cool. That's my picture. That's a picture of Malcolm. Yeah, I know. That's why I stole that picture from my sister. I'm like, that picture is just too perfect.
What I'd really, really like is to see what would happen were I to have a couple of Mises.
Oof.
Because
Oh, who did we lose?
I'm just
Doc,
having trouble.
Oh no, it's like I brought you back in, and then Doc disappeared.
I can't seem to get it to. I signed up for StreamYards because it said you have to sign up if you want to change your avatar. Okay, fine.
Mhm.
So I signed up. So now when I go to the link in Twitter and jump on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll let me come in, but it doesn't recognize the account that I signed up for.
So how did you sign up for it? Did you
With-
use like? Mm-hmm.
I used what it asked, my email.
Oh, I used there's when I signed up there was two options. One was Google and one was something else, and I just picked the Google one.
And it gave you three options actually. You could either just buy your email address or those two.
Mm-hmm.
And so I picked email address. But anyways, it just won't recognize the connection between the two. That you guys wanted me to sign up, so I did. But now it takes me back and it puts me on a screen where I can't get to this broadcast.
Weird.
How it did it before, I don't know. I can't explain it.
Oh my! Please try to not mind me. I'm going back and forth to the library because I've finally built the stacks, and I just need to get all the books shelved on there and everything. It's the room that the landlord calls the bedroom.
Mm.
I call it the library because that's where my 800 some books are. It takes, there's no room to sleep back there. As you can see, I have my sofa bed over here, but it actually looks like library stacks back there, the way I've got the shelves back to back and everything. The only thing I need to do is one way or another build larger shelves because I'm really running out of space.
Okay, I heard library, so I'm back.
Yeah, my library. Let me.
Yeah, and again, it's like if it wasn't such a long drive, I've got the tools, I could fix your problem, and I can get the materials pretty cheap. But, the problem is that it's still,
Well, you're
what was it, like a
900 miles
7 or
away
800
from me.
drive,
Mhm.
No, it's like
I'm not-
350 to 400 miles, I think. I'll have to look it up again.
Wait a minute. From you to me?
I think so. I'd have to look it up again.
I thought it was a lot more than that because didn't you say you had a 2,500 mile round trip when we went to the art
Yep.
protest? And I'm reasonably sure it's 300 something from here to that little one horse town in Kentucky. So there's 600 miles there and back. And now you've got to make up the other 1,900 miles.
Well, I may have rounded it up, but okay, yeah. According to Google Map, it's a bit over 800 miles.
That's what I thought.
Yep. Yeah, it's a bit over 800 miles one way from where I am to where you are. And that's how I've been getting by in here. Is that about every 6 months I build another shelving unit and I'm running out of wall space to put them.
Yeah, God, I know how that works. No, wait a minute. Which browser am I in? I think I'm in that browser. What happens if I go here? Okay, then.
But that's pretty much how I lived with my fiance. It was about 3 times a year I had to build another set of bookshelves because her collection was constantly growing. And we reached a point of her making the decision that she needed a library more than she needed a dining room. So the table and chairs went to a friend so we had space to put in 3 more bookshelves.
Uh-huh.
And this is one of the reasons I fell in love with her.
Yeah, that would kind of do it for me.
Well, we had talked about it, and, while we were poly, we had discussed just a few things, not a lot of guidelines, but a few specifics on people. And among them was that anyone who wasn't registered to vote and didn't have a library card probably wasn't going to be compatible.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's my problem. Is that's one of the things that I've got going and everything else. And in this particular neighborhood, maybe 15% of the population is literate.
Yeah. Well, and
Um,
that was the memorial I left in Syracuse. Was at the neighborhood library in the courtyard. They had a section of the courtyard where you could have engraved stones for people. So I
okay,
have got two
okay.
engraved stones in the library courtyard for her.
Let's see if we can do this. There we go. There we go. There we go. Why the hell? Damn it! This thing screws up my display of the catalog all the time. That is the poo-poo-ness. That is what is it is. It is the poo-poo. It is many much the poo-poo-ness. I don't even know what order this is in. God damn it. Oh well. Um we will go over here. I prefer to have my books. Wait a minute. Oh, for the love of Saint Gulick. God damn it. Okay, let's try. No, 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 no. Damn it.
What are you trying to do that's giving you so much trouble?
I'm trying to paste the catalog. Okay, here we go. No, this is in. Oh, shit.
Language.
Let's try this again. Okay, there we go. There we go. Let's see if that's going to work now. Yeah, this is in bullshit order. I prefer to catalog and shelve my books in Library of Congress call number order. But, what are you going to do? Yeah, I have to shelve by LOC call number because if I didn't, I'd never find anything. In a way, I envy those people who have 2 books in their house. But then again, I simply couldn't do it. I could not do it.
Hey.
All.
829 books?
Yes.
Oof. I have
And
quite a few, but I don't think I have that many. I have The Art of War.
Okay.
I've never read it. I haven't read it yet.
I had to get rid of about 150.
829 books?
Yes. Oh my, oh my, oh my.
Quite a few, but I don't think
I had to get rid of about 150 before I moved here because I knew they wouldn't fit. And they were the shitty books that I had: the Carlos Castaneda, the Tim Leary, all those woo bullshit books. Oh God, when my ex and I were together, we had about 2,000 books between us.
Yeah, I had to part with quite a few of them before I moved just because same kind of thing. Mostly I was concerned with enough space in the truck.
I ended up leaving a lot of my little paperbacks with my parents. Stuff like the Piers Anthony series, and when I read, I have a tendency to read like young adult type stuff for the most part. Like Forgotten Realms books, Piers
So-
Anthony's stuff.
So I take it that means you're familiar with the Xanth series.
Yes, that's mostly what I was reading from him.
That was
Was
one of my fiance's favorites. I used to read her to bed with those a lot.
Oh my.
what I liked better from him was the the Incarnations of Immortality series.
Yeah.
You're familiar?
Briefly, I didn't read all of those.
I thought they were pretty good. But those
Yeah.
are the kinds of books I left at home with my parents. I brought I've got some books from like college level books that I have, and then all my D&D books and a couple of anything I had that was hardbound, like my entire Stephen King collection. What else? I haven't actually looked at my books in a long time.
Well, for my fiance, the books were like teddy bears that she actually, would have 3 or 4 books on the bed with her when she went to bed. And, some of them she had read through so many times they had sections falling out of them. So I particularly remember of the Xanth series that Ogre I had to replace 3 times because that was one of her favorites.
Now,
That's kind of adorable.
It was a very endearing thing.
I have not been much of a fiction person. I am reading more now than I have in the past. Reading a book written by a friend of mine called The Paralogues of Phileas Fogg. He basically wrote a sequel to Around the World in 80 Days. And he's writing a sequel to that sequel as we speak right now. He also wrote a book that goes by the title of Evolution Slam Dunk. It's on the reptile-mammal transition. R.J. Downard, he has a YouTube channel, and he does a program called Evolution Hour. He's got some fascinating stuff if you're into that. His channel is James Downard.
I don't think I've read that one, but when I brought it up on Amazon, it says A Spell for Chameleon and Centaur Isle, and I remember reading those two.
Well, Spell for Chameleon was the first one in the series.
And then they're in an order. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think Centaur Island was like the 3rd or the 4th one.
I think I skipped around. The one I think I read Castle Rugina, whatever that's pronounced, but I can't remember.
Which one?
The 3rd book of the series. Castle Rugna. I don't know.
Oh, Castle Rugna, yeah.
I pronounce things very strangely sometimes. Let me see. I used to play a game called Guild Wars, and there was a hero, and I'm going to put his name on screen and then tell you how I pronounced it. So that's his name. It's Dunkoro. The first time I tried to say it, I called him Dunkaruru.
That minions, where is you are today to putting to making? Is it in the is it on the internal chat?
No, it's on the.
Okay, there it is now. Yeah, it took it a moment to appear.
Dunkoro, okay.
Yeah, I called him Dunkaruru the first time I saw the name. I just inserted random letters that weren't there.
It would all really depend on, which country, which language it was being taken from. Because I can see that would have a different pronunciation depending on if it was an Italian or Spanish inflection.
Okay. I'm rather proud of myself, though. I'm one of about 6 people who got Emily J's name right on the first try.
The thing that I find with a lot of people when they're trying to pronounce names is they don't try and give it the inflection that the native language would have. If you tell me a name is French, I'm going to, despite not speaking French, I'm going to try and give it what I think a French sound would be. You know,
Yes.
like around here, people like to ask for Vyena Weenas. Do we know what this is? A Vyena Weena?
I do most certainly know, because that's what the male slimy bastard had a store in one of Cleveland's economically challenged areas, and the people would always come into the store to buy Vienna sausages,
Yes.
because that's how they pronounced Vienna sausages.
Vienna, right? And I would go to, when I was in high school, I took a Spanish class. Now, I grew up in California in a predominantly Mexican neighborhood, so all my friends growing up were Spanish speakers, and we would
Yeah.
go into the class, and the teacher would be like, "Okay, when you greet someone, you say hola, hola, cómo está usted?" And you'd have these white kids in my class going, "Hola, cómo está usted?" I'm like,
Oh Lord.
can you at least try and make it sound like you're speaking Spanish?
Yeah, you don't have to try to make it sound Mexican. Just make it sound Spanish, for Christ's sake.
Mucho gracias.
Castilian would work, you know.
Well, for you it was easy. At least they were using the same alphabet. In the community I grew up, the second most common language was Hebrew.
Yeah. Some years ago, I lived in a neighborhood where the second most spoken language was Russian. So you'd get signs in the windows in English and in Russian, and it was the cursive Cyrillic that was used on these signs, because they were handwritten, and I ended up trying to learn Russian, so I knew what the folks behind me in line at Lowe's were, what they were saying about me. But Russian's a bitch to learn. Oh Lord.
Well, I'm not exaggerating when I say that the community I grew up in the 70s was about 85% Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Yeah, sounds like Squirrel Hill over here.
Yeah. So it's like, I do credit that with a lot of things, and probably part of why the religious indoctrination didn't work real well with me. Because, when I started discussing the Bible with people, 4 out of 5 people I was talking to had read it in Hebrew.
So let me ask you guys a question, since you're all here, and I've wondered this: were any of you guys, were you all religious before you became atheist?
Yes.
I was.
Yeah.
I was
So-
atheist first and then became religious.
Oh,
Oh,
so
sorry.
Orla's a pagan. Pagans are cool. Don't give them shit. I will
Well-
if you do. No,
Oh, I had forgotten. that
I've
you
gotten
weren't
power,
pagan.
and it went to my
Okay,
head
that's
like 5
cool, that's
minutes.
cool.
Yeah,
Up to
I got
hours.
bounced out of the Catholic Church pretty early, and, I tried to hold on to something. So I was Methodist for a while, and then I gave up the Bible, and I was pagan for 25 years.
See, that's my thought process, is that people who start out in not heavily pushed, heavily indoctrinated religion will go through a process before they get to atheism. So, Purple, you weren't heavily indoctrinated, but you tried to stick with religion and went through an arc of different religions before you became an atheist. The same thing happened with me. I was Christian, at least I said I was. I don't know that I fully believed it, but that's neither here nor there. And then I tried to be pagan, which specifically I tried to be Wiccan for a while, and that didn't stick. And then I finally landed on atheist. But you've got people like Mr. Atheist and Telltale and GM Skeptic Drew, who had really, really heavy religions. And they basically seem to have gone straight from religion to atheism with no in between.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if those more fundamental, pushy religions, there's something about them that makes somebody more likely to go straight into atheism and less likely to explore other religions.
Yeah, a stronger backlash effect.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. Like the the tighter the church's grip, the more parishioners slip through their fingers.
But it's more the like, when I gave up on Christianity, I didn't go straight to saying, I didn't go straight to atheism. I still try to hold on to religion for because I still felt there was some value in it. And I think that, like, because specifically like Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons, like, they teach you why every other religion is wrong and why theirs is the right religion. And so then once you don't no
Yeah.
longer believe in that, you already know why every other religion is wrong, and you can't transition into another one.
Yeah, I
And then you're
had that
extinguished.
period, where I felt that, I realized that the Bible didn't make sense, but I still had the feeling that there must be something else out there.
Yeah, for me
Yeah, I
it
mean-
was really a long time. Like I left Christianity pretty much when I was transitioning into high school. So by the time I was like 15, maybe, I was out of Christianity and just kind of through high school, just sort of exploring, just what I knew, kind of playing with the ideas of the nature of God, I guess, but not really anything until college. I got into Wicca, and I was that more or less up until I want to say around 2007, 2008 ish. So it was quite a long time before I finally just kind of at one point said, you know what, it's all bunk.
Yeah, I went through a similar period. I actually gave up on the Bible when I was 14, and still kind of,
The heck is going on over there?
kind of feeling that there was something there and kind of believing in God, but not knowing what it was. And it actually wasn't until I was 22 that I actually got exposed to the paganism. So I
Yeah,
had,
I like.
8 years in between there that it was just kind of a vague sense that something had to create the universe type thing. So, I guess, having the vocabulary now, that was kind of an agnostic deist for that period.
Yeah, I like to tell people that even though there was that whole nominal thing going on, I wasn't really religious at all because I was Roman Catholic. The people around me could not recite a plank of Catholic theology to save their lives. They used their Catholicism as an identity badge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was an us and them sort of thing. Well, like the male slimy bastard yelled at me one day. Yeah, he rarely talked to me. Most of the time, he yelled at me until he quit talking to me at all. I happened to make the mistake of mentioning Mr. Obama, and immediately he yelled out, "He isn't even Christian!" And I was like, "Well, number one, he's all fucked up there because he's buying into Rush Limbaugh and all that other bullshit. And number two, if he's not Christian, what's the big deal?"
It's it's not like my mother didn't try to make me Roman Catholic, because I ended up going to a Roman Catholic school and she would make me go to the church until I was like 11. And by then it was apparent that I really, really wasn't going to go in for it. My dad was atheist, so it sort of sheltered me from that a little bit, getting, hooked in, so to speak.
Yeah, for about 3, 4 years, my parents made me go to catechism after school. And it's like, even at that point, it's like I didn't believe in the stuff. I knew the Bible stories weren't consistent.
That's the thing. I remember going to church as a kid, but I don't ever remember, like, any of the stories. I just remember it as being someplace that I wanted to go because they had a a nice a nice little playground, and
Hmm.
they had a fence that was covered in honeysuckle. And in the summer, the
Aw.
honeysuckle would be in bloom, and I could not eat the honeysuckles, but pull out the honeysuckles and suck on them to get the nectar off of them. I don't know why I did that. It was something we did. I don't know.
I did that.
Okay, so I'm not weird.
I
Well, I mean,
ate
I
the
might still be
blossoms
weird,
from
but
the honeysuckles.
I didn't eat the plant. I just sucked on the stamen to get the nectar off of them.
Oh, I ate the whole blossom. I chewed them up because you got more juice out of them that way.
I didn't have honeysuckle growing around me, but I did nasturtium. Nasturtium tastes pretty good.
Which one's that one?
Say again?
What is that?
Nasturtium is a sort of a ground cover, if you will. It blooms late summer. The leaves and blossoms have a nice peppery flavor to them.
Is it pesturtium?
Nasturtium. Let me put it in the agfu over here.
Oh,
yeah,
is it like
actually,
an
when I
orange?
was growing up, we used to do what we called heartburn picnics, which was basically we would just go to the local park and we would just eat things we found growing in the park. Which
Well,
it's
there's a-
actually surprising that none of us got more seriously sick about that, but
I think we used to when I was in before I was in California, I was in Massachusetts, and we used to eat white clovers.
oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I used to eat white clovers and dandelions. Dandelion greens are actually quite good if you get them before the blossoms come out. As soon as the blossoms open up, then they get better.
Yeah.
But if you get them before the blossoms come out, they taste a lot like spinach.
Yeah, make a nice salad out of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've heard
after
of
that they
that
become
too.
too bitter.
And a friend of mine used to make. Excuse me.
Oh, bless
Yes,
you.
I'm tight.
Wine.
That came out of nowhere. I wasn't looking at the screen. It's this. That came out of nowhere. I wasn't looking at my screen, and it scared the bejesus out of me.
Sorry.
Yeah, one of these stories that I like to tell people is that growing up, my dad was
Guess
not
I'm tight.
religious. My dad grew up as a Catholic, and there was this point in their life where my grandfather ended up in jail for something. I don't know what. It wasn't a serious thing. But my grandmother went to the Catholic Church for assistance. Because, she had 3 kids and no husband, and she wasn't working because this was, of course, probably in the 50s or 60s. Whew. And apparently, the preacher told them, well, you're young and you're still young and pretty, and your daughter's old enough. You can put a red light out.
What?
What?
Right. I don't know how.
Holy shit! What?
Right. So my dad was always like really anti-Catholic, really anti-religion growing up. And then, hi, Jen. Jen's little corner's in here. In the sidebar. Does anybody have anywhere to go? We can let her. Because I can't. I don't think I can. Can I add another person to the stream? Nope.
No, 6 is the
Nope, you're
maximum
full.
for the software.
Actually, I've been thinking about hopping off because I only had like 3 hours of sleep there, and I think I need another nap. So
Yeah, get some sleep.
yeah.
Sleep is good. But thank you for being
So,
the first. Thank you for being the first person to ever come onto a stream I did, because you were the first person in the room.
yeah, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
I hope
Always
to
good to
chat
talk
with
to you,
y'all.
Doc.
Yep, I hope to chat with y'all again soon. You're all wonderful people. I love you bunches.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
later.
Have a good one.
Yep.
Take
Have a
care.
good night, guys.
Yeah, I threw up a picture and a entry from the Font of All Knowledge about
Hey,
nasturtium.
Jen.
Hi.
Hi, honey.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so Diana, you have a picture to share?
Well, I
Like
put
the-
the link
oh,
to
right.
the picture in the chat over there,
Yeah, the
along
okay.
with
flower.
the link to the Font of All Knowledge.
Right, I see the
Gotcha.
Wikipedia
Yeah,
link.
describing nasturtium. Hey, Jen.
Oh, I'm not sure. So apparently this is what that was what the preacher told my grandmother was to put out a red light and go to prostitution rather than having the church help him. So growing up, my dad was always really anti-religious. Like his idea of saying grace, and I don't know if anybody here's heard this story, but it's my favorite thing to tell, was his way of saying grace when he was told was rub-a-dub-dub, thanks for the grub, yay weasel shit. That was
I
how
like
he would say
it. I
grace.
like it.
I've never heard the weasel shit, but yeah, I've heard the rest of it.
What was the last part of that?
Yay weasel shit. Instead of saying amen, he said yay weasel shit.
Weasel shit. Okay.
And then he was very fond of saying that God raped Mary. That was
pretty
he
much.
would say that because he was like, well, if you go by power dynamics, who can say no to a god? You like have to say yes. Therefore, she didn't have a choice. Therefore, it's rape.
That's a question I've asked a lot too. Yeah.
That was always one of those things that made my mother glare at him, and I wasn't too comfortable with that one either because I'm like, you know.
Another one.
Well, I've asked about that too because if it's a boss and an employee, then that's sexual harassment. So what if it's the boss of the entire universe? What else can that be?
Mm. True. Hey Jen, what you doing? How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Doing okay? It's late.
Yeah, I fell nicely asleep, and had an hour of sleep between 1 and 2.
So
I was going to have another sleep.
My daughter is excited because she gets to have her first assessment today, and she walks funny like I do. So she's quite excited at the fact that she might get orthopedic shoes and not fall over anymore.
Oh, well, good luck with that.
It's gonna take a while because it does at the moment. Assessments are taking years for everything. So, yay!
Is that the problems with the NHS?
Oh yeah, because of austerity, and they've had a lot of cuts. Anything to do with the psychological side gets cut, and her assessment is to see whether that she's on the spectrum as well, or maybe dyspraxic or something like that. And the physio's getting thrown in there with it because she walks funny. So they're going to do it at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, we have long waits here, but there's nothing like you guys can have.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what you meant by an assessment there.
Yeah, sorry. No, it's you get put on a list, and then they assess the person's behavior over like a couple of months. If it's a kid, they try and watch them in school sometimes, as well as having private sessions in their clinic.
Okay, now which country are you in?
I'm in the UK.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure.
I was going to say you're not accent deaf, are you there?
My
I don't go by accents because people do move.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to just assume by that.
My accent is funny because I don't talk to people, and most of the people that I listen to on YouTube are American. So, yeah.
Yeah, I made the mistake of assuming someone's location home based on their accent, and this was in high school, and she was from New Zealand, and I asked her if she was from Australia, and she didn't talk to me for 2 days because apparently that's really insulting.
It's more insulting the other way because they fuck shit.
Did you see the? Oh, is everybody okay over there? Did you see the image from Scandinavia versus the world that I posted? It's a webcomic from a girl up north. I'm not sure where exactly, whether she's in Denmark or Sweden. But she draws the characters based on the country. So it's a little man with his chest is the national flag. And so he does the country, and then he does like sister country. So we'll have Denmark and sister Denmark, or he'll have France, or she'll have France and brother France, because France is female. When it got time for her to draw New Zealand was a sheep. And
Yeah, I saw
New
that.
Zealand
Yeah.
was very popular with whales.
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute. What have I got?
You do realise that in the UK we call Welsh people sheep shaggers.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is what we call New Zealanders. So.
You know, my surname is Welsh, and I've never considered a sheep,
Of course it is.
but I may now.
Yeah, my heritage is actually kind of confusing because the town that my great-grandparents came from was either in Finland, Sweden, or Russia, depending on which year you're talking about.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
Well, that is
sounds
Finland's
really
history.
familiar. No, wait a minute. Oh, okay. That's a coupon I can use later if I remember.
My mother's really big into genealogy, and at one point she's tracked my family back on one side like 16 generations. So she knows that we are English, Irish, Dutch, Spanish, Welsh, and Scottish, with maybe some Portuguese. And at some point when I was little, she said Portuguese, and I said, "My daddy ain't no Portuguese," because I was like 7 and couldn't say Portuguese, so it came out Portuguese.
Well, I can only go back 5 generations because, like I say, it was kind of a contested border area. And my great-grandfather left that town because the Russian army was advancing. So rather than let the Russian army have the town, they burned the entire town to the ground with everybody taking whatever they could carry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then. Yeah, the area where Babkandetko came from was one of those areas that I like to call, which country are we in this week?
Yeah.
At the time they were born, the respective areas were in Slovakia, but they were also in Poland, Russia, Germany, and it changed hands quite a bit.
Yeah, well, and that's my father's side is the same thing, that they claim we're Polish, but the only picture anyone has of my great-grandfather is in a Russian army uniform. So apparently somehow he defected and got to the US. No one has an explanation for how that happened.
Well, I'm wondering, what is it possible that he was conscripted at a time when the Russian
Get on
army
with your breakfast.
began wherever he happened to be living at the time?
In 15
Yeah, well, that's-
minutes, I expect you guys to be getting dressed.
Crack that whip.
It's school day.
She brought out the mom voice.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't realise it was on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much, what I have to figure happened. So it's like the only thing that the two sides of my family have in common is that they all like to shoot at Russians.
I love it.
And at this point, we're all mutts anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty much true.
Huh? I'm pure.
You
No.
lucky angel.
In what sense?
Oh,
There was this study done about holochromes a while ago, and I love to use it to annoy purists. Who say, "I'm all white. There's no black DNA in me." It's like, yeah, well, 50% of Europeans have holochromes from people who lived in ancient Egypt. So.
have you guys actually seen the video of the neo-Nazi who takes a DNA test and finds out like he's got some black history in his family and just like flips out?
Yeah, I think I've seen that
Yeah.
one. It's a riot.
Unfortunately, you get a lot of white supremacy in heathenism. So you come across it quite a lot, and you learn the arguments. And you know how this thing about cultural appropriation is popping up? You see the same arguments coming from people of color as well, and yet they're still saying things like, oh, black people can't be racist at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't know how to respond, because anything I say at that point is going to sound, like I'm being racist as well. So
having grown up in America, one of the hardest things you run into as you grow up and you're first exposed to it is Black British citizens who have a British accent. You just kind of have to shake your head and go, what?
That's one of those things I like to talk about when this topic comes up.
Uh-huh.
When I was growing up, like, I knew what gay people were. I comprehended that it existed, but I thought it was only a white thing. So the first time I was exposed to a Mexican black person and a Mexican and a black gay person, I was sitting there and it kind of blew my mind, but I'm like, it was one of those things where, like, well, of course they can be gay too. And then a couple of years later, I was watching a TV show, and it was one of these kids shows, like, it was like a mystery kind of kids show on Nickelodeon or something, but it was set in the UK. And this girl comes on screen, and she's black, and she starts speaking with a British accent. And it was another one of those mind blown a little bit, and was like, there's black British people? And then, of course, right after that thought, it was like, well, of course there are. Why wouldn't there be? But it was never something that crossed my mind until I saw it. And then it was like, well, why would you not even think that was a thing?
The other thing I get is when Europeans learn English, they learn British English.
Mm-hmm.
And so they speak British English with a German or Dutch or whatever accent. And it's just kind of funny.
What's really fun here in Pittsburgh, in the neighborhoods I've lived in, people don't recognize anyone from outside their neighborhood as people. So it was really interesting when a friend of mine showed up. He bought one of the local delis, one of the local convenience stores. When you look at him, you see someone of Middle Eastern heritage. He happened to be born to Pakistani parents. When he opened his mouth, you heard London, and nobody around here could make any sense of that. It's like, no, this doesn't work. Of course it works. Come on.
Yeah. Well, and as far as the genetics, random DNA testing has shown that something like 8% of European males are direct descendants of Genghis Khan.
Yeah, something like that, because he was so prolific.
Yeah.
I actually have one of those, like, Ancestry or 23andMe, Ancestry.com swabs for your cheek, and I've been meaning to do it. But I've been hesitant because apparently the police are now going in and searching these databases. Like when they have like a rape case or something like that, instead of going through like the criminal databases, they'll go to places like Ancestry and pay them in order to browse their catalog.
Uh-huh.
I was listening to a story about a guy who got pegged for a rape and a murder because his father had signed up for it and turned in his DNA. Mommy! And he came up like a half-quarter match to the DNA they had for the person that committed the crime.
Right. You got to understand, though, that all that does for the police is get them into the right family. They still don't know who did the crime, but it can get them. It can get them to a point where they know who to investigate, and to find out if the evidence is there.
Well, and not even that necessarily.
It's actually a really good thing.
Well, but I mean, it falls under illegal search and seizure because the person that they arrested, that they DNA tested and they kept in jail for 3 days, he didn't consent to giving his DNA. His father did. And
Right.
so there's an issue with, if my brother decides to give his DNA for something like that, or if I give my DNA for something and then they search that and they find that I'm a match to being a relative of someone who's accused, some DNA that they have that's committed a crime. Well, my brother might be the criminal, but he didn't consent to that search. Or he didn't consent to have his DNA taken. So,
But you did.
but I did. But I'm not him. I can't consent for him.
Right, and
That's
that's why
the
they have,
issue.
Yeah.
and that's why they have to have all this other evidence that they have to dig up. When you
Or don't.
First of all, if you're using Ancestry, Ancestry.com for that, you're dealing with the Mormon Church. Do you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and they like to ferret away all kinds of genetic information on as many people as they possibly can, because it's part of their religion to determine who is who, because only certain people get to go to heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one case where police were convinced they had a serial killer because they had a match of DNA from like 30 different crime scenes. And it turned out the reason they had that match was that one of the people who was packing the swabs at the factory hadn't been wearing gloves.
Oh. So it was his DNA getting into the contaminating the sample. Oh man.
Yeah. And
That would be frustrating for the investigators.
So they were convinced it was a serial killer, and it's like, no, these were all completely unrelated crimes.
box of post toasties found dead. Serial killer suspected. More at 11.
There was a case here where someone was arrested and charged for a murder because their DNA matched to someone's home. But it turns out it was the result of transfer, because he's obviously touched something in public and then somebody else has, and then they've gone into this person's home and then touched things in that person's home, and yeah.
Yeah.
But they managed to prove that this guy was nowhere near the house. So
well, and interestingly enough,
at least there's that.
Other researchers are finding this useful. Like, they're finding that they can take DNA samples from soil, and they can tell you, like, all the species of animals that live in that area. Just from a soil sample now. So they can tell you, 30 different species of animals that have passed through that section.
I have a former friend who's a professor out at a college in the state of Washington, and his group trains dogs to go into wilderness areas and track down specific species of scat.
Okay.
And they can track down, any given animal and find if it is living in a particular area, for various conservation issues.
Excuse me a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see where that could be useful.
But former friend, he and I were actually good buddies when he was in college, when we were both in college. But he since decided that he shouldn't know a pervert like me.
I was wondering if
Which was
that
pretty
was
shocking.
reason.
Jens, what's this link you put in here? The chef
Okay,
thing?
you were talking about people with
Accents?
weird accents showing up. The guy Tony in that is a chef in Edinburgh, but he is of Indian Sheik ancestry. But he was born in Scotland. He dresses like a sheik. He looks like a sheik. He's got the broadest Scottish accent you could imagine. It blew my brain when I first saw him on telly. It was like, what the hell?
Well,
Yeah, there's been a couple of YouTube creators that we've watched that Sloth Girl and I have wound up debating for a couple of weeks what country they were coming from.
well, what is your nationality? It's like, we traced my fraternal ancestry back to England, to Southwest England, all the way back to the 1200s. My family name has been here in the States since the 1700s. Okay, on my mom's side, we can trace just in the state of Wisconsin back to the 1700s. So what nationality am I? Because if you look at the names on my dad's name, we can trace the surname all the way back there. But on my mom's, the surname changes because there's, the women take the husband's name and stuff like that, and it's French fur trappers. So what nationality am I? I'm American.
Okay, wait. This is something I don't quite understand. I find it difficult to wrap my head around the whole concept. Why is it that Americans, and I don't know, maybe people throughout the world, want to claim a nationality, want to claim a country in which they do not live, in which they were not born?
I think that is mostly Americans.
Yeah, I think that's an American thing for some weird reason. That's always something that my dad would say, like when they were doing something on the TV and a black person would come on and they would be like, he's African American, and my dad would be like, no, he's American.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he was born in Africa and came here later and migrated to the United States within his lifetime, let's just say, then he is American.
Yeah, I think Americans, it largely goes back to colonial times that they wanted to make a distinction between who was English and who was Spanish or French.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, so that sort of makes sense on that one. Yeah, I mean, I'm American. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. As far as I was raised by people who had a Slovak heritage and a Polak heritage. As far as his side were children of immigrants, her side were grandchildren of immigrants, but neither one had set foot in their respective areas that they were claiming. I don't get the whole thing. I don't mind looking at the heritage. I mean, all sorts of fun things you can get out of learning what your parents did or grandparents.
I think it's a cultural heritage thing, Diana.
Yeah.
I mean, especially look at the Jewish community where you get an awful lot of people who claim they're Jews who are actually atheists, but they're culturally
Yes,
Jews.
David.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, I thought of that David Silverman talk where he was like, "You're an atheist, you're not Jewish." Maybe
but you can be Jewish through birth or through religion.
Yeah. For me, it's a little different perspective.
Jewish is not a it's not even a nationality. It's a religion.
Well, supposedly, America is the great melting pot.
No, it's not.
At what point have we all melted and mixed together? If we're this melting pot, why do we keep saying, well, I'm an Irish American, or I'm a French American, or I'm an African American?
Well, for me, it's a little different because I actually, I did not have any ancestors in this country prior to 1900. 1904, my grandmother came over. So, I literally have at least met all of my family that came over from Europe.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know my genetic heritage.
I do.
Somebody like me, where do you go? I am not related to my so-called family. I am not related to the people who raised me. I am not related to their generation or their parents.
You're
I'll be right
adopted,
back.
aren't you, Diana? So
Yeah,
Again?
without records from the adoption agency or a DNA test, you'd have nothing to go on.
Right, and
you could
I
do
mean,
a DNA
I still
test for
exist.
it,
I'm
though.
still valid as a person.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, a lot of people, it's more about the traditions. Like, it's like, if your family was from Italy and you came over here and you're eating Italian food and you're doing Italian things, well, that's the part that I could see, like, making you an Italian.
And
Yeah.
that's not making you Italian. That's giving you an attachment to that cultural heritage.
Right. That's
Right,
what I
and
meant.
that's what Sloth Girl has. Is she has a strong attachment to the heritage because of the foods that remind her of her grandmother.
Yeah, but that doesn't make you that. It doesn't make you Italian, or it
Right.
or
That's
whatever.
what
I mean, Italian's a good example. You picked a good one. Or Irish. The number of
Yeah.
Irish people who live in other countries who've never seen Ireland in their entire lives and call themselves Irish people. You were born in this country. Why? In what sense are you Irish, except you maybe like to drink a Guinness?
Well, and then I found it funny. I feel I've lost any kind of accent now. But I had lived in Minnesota for over 20 years when I moved to New York. So when I was living in central New York, everyone assumed I was Canadian.
Did you say a bit?
I'm gonna put my phone blanket and have questions.
Minnesota.
We will have to come home.
Instead, now I just have a
It's
Canadian
supposed to be off
cat.
at 12 and the appointment's at 1:30. That's why.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing about me is around here, all anybody knows is that I'm not from around here. As soon as I open my mouth, I do not sound like I'm going downtown and then going to the house, go Steelers.
I dated a guy from Philadelphia, from Pennsylvania for a while.
Oh my! It's amazing though, the accent around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Diana, from you, I did, just because I'm used to the Polish accent, I did pick up very early on from you of a Russian undertone.
Yeah, well, part of it now is the accent I have now is not the accent I had when I grew up. This is, if you want to call it, a manufactured accent. I worked on developing this so as to not sound like I was from Cleveland. But yes, I mean, I did pick up elements of Baka accent, elements of other accents, and mostly German. The German vowel set, the A, E, I, O, U, E, that whole bit. That's the vowel set I tend to use, rather than the Clevelanders' vowel set where the A's are very sharp, like like a cat rather than a cat.
Well, one of my jokes that nobody outside of the area would ever get is what's yellow and has 56 fins? A school bus in Upper Michigan.
The only accent that I'm really good at picking up that's an American accent is a Bostoner.
Oh my
and
Lord!
all I have to do is get them to say car, and I know you're from Boston.
You pack the cat.
Park the car and have a yard.
Right.
Oh my God! I was in Boston as part of a choir tour back when I was at uni.
I forgot you did choir.
Say again?
I forgot you sang in a choir.
Yeah,
I sing in the choir too.
Small groups
with those dulcet tones.
Hmm?
Those dulcet tones.
I was a soprano.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
I was a soprano in the West Allis
I actually miss singing. I really do.
You're a soprano, Jen?
Say again?
Back in 1963, yes, I was.
Oh, you mean when you were a kid?
Yeah.
I was
You
never
guys do it
strong.
now? Or
Same.
Huh?
either of you able to still sing?
No.
Oh, I can
No?
sing, yes. The thing is that with a rack the size of a bus just doesn't go together very well.
Okay, so in other words, you can't sing. Oh.
Well, you can sing off camera.
There you go. There you go. I am a trained bass baritone.
Wow.
There's a couple of musicians that I've heard singing and did not realize that I had completely misgendered the singer. Like Rush. I for the longest time thought the lead singer of Rush was a girl.
Oh, what, Getty?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think
Okay,
that's
I
the
can
name.
see how you would do that. I see how you would do that. Yeah. Let me look up and make sure I got the right one.
I actually knew someone in
Geddy
Minneapolis.
Lee, I think is the person.
Yeah. Yep, Getty.
And then there's another band that when I heard them, it's called Coheed and Cambria. They're newer, but I heard one of their songs and thought that they were a girl. Let me see. If
Yeah,
I
the main reason I know about Rush is because they spent a lot of time in their formative years, if you will, in the Cleveland area. They'd always appear at the Agora. And unfortunately, I never got to hear them because they were doing all this Cleveland appearance stuff when I was in high school.
And if you were afraid to go see him, were you agoraphobic?
Yep. No,
But
I
you not
wasn't
all know
allowed
how
to
badly
do
I
that
sing.
stuff. No, I was kept in a box. Those two wanted me isolated, and they did a pretty damn good job. That's why I'm so fucked up as I am now.
Did you say they kept you in a box?
Basically, not quite a Skinner box. You do know what a Skinner box is, right?
No, I do
It
not.
sounds it's familiar, but I can't remember.
B.F. Skinner, as part of a psychological experiment, kept his daughter in a box, in an actual box, for a year or two when she was starting when she was about 4 years old.
Why?
I cannot remember exactly what he was after with this experiment of
He's
his.
a fucking psychopath?
That
Go on,
would
go on.
describe B.F. Skinner pretty well, actually.
Get out of here.
He's one of those ones like Money and
Yeah, he's quite famous, but his methods were always questionable.
yeah, like Money and who's the dude I was thinking of? It's a
Well, it
few of
wasn't
them.
so much the money because this was. Let me
I didn't
look.
say the Money. I said Money, as in the guy responsible for David Raymer.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with that.
No, you're not familiar with the Raymer
We
case?
will discuss it tomorrow, Purple, because
Yeah.
it fits in with your thread.
Oh,
And
is that the one who was
Burnt people.
transitioned, and then it wasn't until they were like 22 that they,
Your ages are
realized
wrong.
it?
It's the one that was injured in a circumcision raised
Right.
female.
Okay, yeah, now I know the one you mean.
Yeah, he reasserted his birth gender at 16.
Go on.
Yeah, the book is called
As
When
God Made Him.
He Was Born or something.
As God Made Him.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah,
I've got a copy of the book. I just couldn't remember the title.
yeah, I haven't read the book, but I've gotten the summary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He is the case that is totally ignored by sociologists when they're discussing that gender is a social construct.
Right.
Because they have to ignore it because it proves that it's not.
Yeah, he's the exception that basically says, to the idea.
Yeah.
And if you're making a
It's
general,
what Money was trying to prove.
One counterexample.
Yeah, it's what Money was trying to prove. He was trying to prove that gender was a social construct, and he failed miserably.
Yep.
And
So
he ruined Raymer's life in the process.
He killed
So-
somebody that way.
Yeah.
and his brother, but yeah. So I just looked up the Skinner thing, and apparently that's a rumor that his daughter denies. The
There
Skinner
are
dog thing.
photographs. I've seen the photographs. I just have to find them.
I'm gonna have.
See, because what I'm reading says in 2004, a book entitled "Opening Skinner's Box" caused a stir by mentioning the rumor that Skinner had used his baby daughter Deborah in some of his experiments, and that she had subsequently committed suicide. Although Slater's book stated that the rumors were false, a reviewer in The Observer in 2004 misquoted Slater's book as supporting the rumors. This review was read by Deborah Skinner, who wrote a vehement reposit?
Response?
RIPOSTE. Repost in The Guardian.
Okay, then. So I'm gonna have to check this out further because it's been a while since I've seen the photographs of Deborah in the box, and okay, they could be staged.
Yeah. Do we want to have alternative views tomorrow, Purple? Or do we want to just go with the alternative views that's within our group?
Oh, I don't care. I have absolutely, no illusions about my channel ever being monetized.
Because, I mean, we could get somebody like Fond of Beetles in.
Like who?
And she's actually a biologist, but she's also gender critical.
Who? Oh, what? Where?
Never heard of her.
Fond of Beetles, and I can't remember what her actual name is, but that's her Twitter handle.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
Unlike a lot of gender critical, she's actually semi-reasonable to talk to, but she's a gender critical.
Well, if it's somebody that you consider reasonable, I'll trust you on that.
But she's not somebody who's going to sit there and abuse us.
Jen,
Yeah, that's
who?
my-
Yeah, and I'm willing to accept
wait,
anyone
wait.
who will sit
Who?
down and
Fond of
have a
Beetles,
rational
Jen.
discussion. I don't want anybody who's
can't
going to
hear
be
you.
attacking people.
Guys, hold on. Jen, what are you asking?
I'm asking who?
Fond of Beetles is her nick in Twitter.
Fond of Beetles. I think I've seen her somewhere before.
Yeah, she's a biologist and a gender critical. Yeah, she actually denies that that some
Emma
of the
Hilton.
results exist that actually have papers.
Wait a minute.
Well, say that again.
I think her nick is actually Dr. Fond of Beetles, but
Well, I found someone that says Fond of Beetles and it says Dr. Emma Hilton.
Yeah. Emma Hilton, yep, that's her.
Let me put a link in the chat for you.
Wait
Yeah,
a minute.
I
okay,
have no
okay,
formal
I have-
education. I will not even claim to be well read on the subject. I really can only draw off of my personal experience and off of people I've known.
Okay, developmental biologist, research fellow, and occasional lecturer. All views are my own. Manchester. This is the one.
Yep.
Okay, then.
She doesn't label herself as gender critical in there. She says lots of things about trans women in sports, but if you actually look through who she retweets and who she talks about, it's like Kathleen Stock and people like that. So
Yeah, because my concern is if you bring in people that oppose or that are your opposition, that you'll get yelled over. That would be my concern.
She's not that kind of person, though. She's not the Stock kind of person. She is actually the kind of person who will actually talk. I've had reasonable conversations with her in the past on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Well, reasonable by the standard of talking to anybody who's gender critical.
Wait.
I mean, in the scheme, she's not the kind of person who goes out of her way to insult people, but she is gender critical.
Female sport exists to celebrate the achievements of extraordinary women, not those of ordinary males.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Jens,
I don't want her anywhere near me.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what you mean when you say gender critical.
She doesn't believe people being trans is actually a thing.
Ah,
No.
Oh no! See, I thought
no.
when you did
I am
the
not
She
gonna-
is
I'm not gonna
basically a
stand for
TERF.
it.
But
I'm not gonna
she's a TERF
stand-
without being an abusive TERF. Like she wouldn't misgender us. She wouldn't go down that whole stupid you don't exist sort of thing. And I don't think she believes in the bathroom crap that some of them go through. But in other things, she is very much gender critical.
See, when I said your opposition, I was thinking more of like
A sociologist.
gender is yeah. I don't want to say names because I don't want to be. I'm not trying to talk smack about anybody in particular whose opinions I can't.
Look, look, as far as as people who believe that go, I don't have issues with Callan or Ocean and that. I like. Yes, I've said their names, and I actually get along quite well with Callan. So
Mhm. No, that's good.
we have a fundamental difference of opinion in this, and
Okay.
we were going to have a discussion on Shannon Key's channel about it.
Oh, you
It
are.
sort of got delayed because we were, but I just haven't had time, and she's been studying, so it's been pushed to the back burner.
Yeah.
And she would probably come on, except if we're having Sarah on.
Yeah.
She will not talk to Sarah. There is no way in this world she will talk to Sarah.
Although Sarah follows her.
Yeah, I know, but her and Sarah are like, we're gonna no. No, she's already told me categorically she will not be in a discussion that Sarah's in.
Well, Sarah said she can't make it, unfortunately.
Okay, so we could have Callum then. But if we have Callum, be prepared that Callum will talk over us.
But that's the
okay.
thing. I don't. That
Yeah.
was the thing that irritated the heck out of me. That whole stream that
Non
you did with
sequitur.
Aaron was the non sequitur one was like I wanted you to finish. I wanted you guys to finish your sentences because
Oh, here we go.
as somebody who's on the outside, I want to hear both points of view so I can weigh them against my own knowledge and see which one makes sense. But when you can't get a sentence out because you're being interrupted, that's annoying as a viewer. And I'm
Yeah.
sure it's annoying as the speaker.
The only way you could have this discussion with Callan as part of it, and it's unfortunate, is if you got someone strong enough to moderate it. Which is why I suggested Shannon if I had the discussion with her, and it would only be me and her. So I'm not prepared otherwise because it'll just be people shouting over each other. So, and it'll probably end up being that anyway, but hopefully not.
Well, Purple, you know you can mute people, right?
Well, I know I can. I know I'm not really strong on, as far as the moderation skills. It's not something I've had to do a lot.
Ocean would have been better, but Ocean's too busy to do it because he's reasonable. Not that Callan's unreasonable. It's just that Callan.
She's young. She's energetic. She feels like she's in the right, and so she's got all that energy to just go.
I want to know why anybody thinks
people disagreeing with her.
I want to know why anybody thinks that we should. I want to know why anybody thinks that we should have a discussion on how we define ourselves, that we have anything to listen to from any person who thinks that we shouldn't even exist. I don't want that person on our panel.
Callan thinks we should exist. Callan's trans.
No, I'm not talking about Callan. I'm talking about this Emma person.
Oh,
yeah,
Emma.
I'm really more looking for, that can we at least all agree on that there's a sort of a trans spectrum and, kind of defining all the things that might fall within that.
Yeah, because on his stream earlier when he ended it,
are you still streaming, Pyro?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to actually discuss this?
Yeah, we're still on YouTube here.
I could end it because it has been going on for 3 hours and something.
I mean, it's all right us having this discussion amongst us, then we know what we're doing tomorrow. But if we have this discussion now, it sort of
defeats the purpose. Well, no, I was just saying that Try and I had been having a conversation offline after his stream earlier, and we were getting so into like the conversation that he was like, "Do you want to have this as the conversation tomorrow night and pause this and come back?" And we were like, "Yeah, sure." So
yeah. Also, at this point, I'm wondering if there's anyone besides the 5 of us and Maya actually listening to this.
I'm not even in YouTube.
Yeah. So
Well, I'm
I'm
just
in
looking at the
yeah.
YouTube page, and that's all I'm seeing.
Yeah, so there is somebody other than us because I'm not actually on it at the moment.
Okay.
yeah, that's the thing. I don't understand with this whole streaming thing. It's like I've got the pop out chat, and it's like participants. Mine's the only name that shows up.
Yeah, it does that sometimes.
Yeah, well, if there's people listening who never type anything,
Mm.
Yeah, they
you know,
don't
they'll
show
show up as part of the number, but you won't know who they are.
They'll also stop
Right.
showing up as being participants if they haven't typed for a while, but they may still be watching it.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a bit weird how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never quite figured out how YouTube calculates it all because the numbers never quite seem to add up. You always seem to be a
One of the
couple
shows I
off.
released had 25 views at the end of the at the end of the premiere, and there'd only ever been about 5 or 6 people talking in the chat. So
Yeah.
how do you figure that out? It's just like
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
YouTube's math does not make sense.
I mean, how much do you have to watch before you count before it gets counted as a watch? Because like I'm getting an 8 in the upper corner. Viewers 8. I know one of them is me because I've got it open in another tab muted.
Another one is me.
Okay, there's 2.
not
Yeah,
me.
well, I've got the YouTube
I don't
open
have YouTube
also,
open.
and a moment ago it was 7, so now it says 8, so someone else
Yeah,
must have joined.
I just reopened it. I accidentally had closed it.
By the way, Kitty, you don't actually have your YouTube page linked from your Twitter account.
I don't. Yeah, no. I I'll fix that, I guess. I don't know. It
I'm
depends on what I'm going to be doing.
Okay, well, let's just ask, is there anyone in the side chat who's actually paying attention to us, or is it just the 5 of us talking?
Oh, Orla's there.
Okay, Orla's there, yeah.
Somebody probably opened it, like Maya. Maybe she opened it and just left it. Oh, yeah.
Oh boy, boy.
Who else is there?
I've had it
So,
open.
Jen,
Yeah, I think we just
me,
have Orla and Mila.
Orla.
All right. Do you want to end it and then we can figure out what we're doing tomorrow night?
Yeah, I think that's an idea. Yeah, midday for you.
Okay,
Right,
well,
just
you
after
know,
midnight.
and Orla, you can always step back in here if you feel you want to.
Yeah, you could if you don't want to be in the you can be in the back room. You can still hear things.
So I am.
Well, we've got room for one
Sarah's
more
gonna
person in here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Well,
guessing
Mm.
Sarah's going to be Innie.
Well, actually, you've got room for 1.5 because I'm not all there.
Okay, so I'm going to end this broadcast. Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Este perro tapacalagabatienta. Whatever that meant.
Like,
Okay,
subscribe,
and I have
and,
Handsome Kitty saying that I have missed my chance to actually move to the bed because he's fallen asleep on my leg.
Mm.
So
Oh,
I'm
wow.
kind of stuck here for a while.
Okay,
the kitty.
closing now.